Since the dawn of time, goblins have lived happily in the goblin woods. They ate whatever they pleased, blazed in the swamp, and thrived under the watchful eye of the Goblin King. Upon his brow sat the greatest of all goblin hats, the crown of the Goblin King. But one sickly sunny day, vicious gnomes swarmed the woods, and in a great battle the king fell. The crown shattered into 7 fragments scattered across the wood's depths. Still a legend murmured by the matrons foretells a valiant goblin who shall one day reunite the shards, banish the gnomes, and restore joy to the woods. Are you that goblin? Guys, gals, and non-binary pals, welcome to the Alexandria. And today we are taking a peek at a game called Goblin by Wojciech Kosinski, whose name I hopefully have not butchered too much. I became aware of this game when I went to PeerCon in Poznan, Poland, back in June. Wojciech very kindly came and gave me a prototype copy of the game Goblin, and I had a chance to look through it, and it is a really cool little sort of solo tabletop narrative game, and I thought it would be fun to take a peek at it today. So that is, in fact, what we are going to be doing today. Okay, let's dive in and take a peek at Goblin, a solo RPG about a goblin's life. The game centers around exploring this little hex map, which I think is a super cool technique I haven't personally seen in a little solo game before. But if we go ahead here, we can see here this is the introduction that I was reading before. And then here is a breakdown of the map and the various regions and locations that we'll be able to visit as a goblin. We're going to start here with the rules of play. You are a goblin. You speak Goblinese and you can see in the dark. You begin the game in the Goblin Village, which is back on the map. You can see in the center of the map there. You begin with a stabber and a mouthful of 10 plus 2d6 teeth. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to be rolling dice physically because that is how I roll, pun intended. So I'll have some dice here and I'll report the dice rolls to you. We also have over here, we can switch to a character sheet. So it says that we start with a stabber. The other thing it says is that we have 10 plus 2d6 teeth. So I'm going to roll 2d6. I've rolled 7, so we're going to start with 17 teeth. We'll put that right in there. So we have 17 teeth, a stabber. Back to the rule book. So don't spend all your teeth at once. You're going to need at least 1 to eat. Goblins are not so picky, so you can eat anything even remotely edible to recover a whooping 1 hit point. To determine your attributes, roll d6 each for stabbiness, sneakiness, and spelliness. A roll of 1 to 2 means -1, 3 to 4 means 0, and 5 to 6 means +1. All right, let's go do that real quick. So I'm rolling a d6 for stabbiness. I've gotten a 5, so that's a +1 for stabbiness. Same thing for sneakiness. I rolled a 1, so I'm very unsneaky, -1. And I also rolled a 1 for spelliness, so I'm also -1 in spelliness. Does not bode well for this particular goblin becoming the Goblin King, but we'll kind of see how it goes. These results are your attributes. If you find this method too random, you could distribute these values instead. Let's just go for it, right? We can always... I mean, I'm assuming this goblin's going to die a horrible death in the woods, so eventually we may go through a second goblin here. Okay, so we have our attributes now. Whenever the text specifies an attribute and a number, roll a d6 and add your attribute value to the result. If the total equals or exceeds the target number, your goblin succeeds. Great, that's really straightforward. Combat is always a stabbiness test. The enemy strength is the target number you need to meet or beat. If you succeed, you deal damage. If you fail, you take damage instead. If you defeat the enemy, roll to see how many teeth you've knocked out. They're yours to keep now. So these goblins go around and they have teeth that they use up pretty quickly, but they can knock other people's teeth out and jab them into their face, which is actually, that's incredibly good. It's not just other people, right? It is also like monsters. Like you knock out a boar and you rip out its tusks and jam them into your teeth. I wonder if like cow teeth is like an insult among the goblins. Like, oh, look at old cow teeth over here. You know, the only teeth he can get is by going out and ripping teeth out of the local cow pastures. What a loser. All right. So when we defeat an enemy, roll to see how many teeth you've knocked out. They're yours to keep. Alternatively, you can choose to flee, but you'll take d4 damage when doing so. So stabbiness test, try to beat their number. Succeed, deal damage. If you fail, take damage instead. If you defeat the enemy, roll to see how many teeth you've knocked out. Or you can always choose to flee, taking d4 damage as you do so. Okay, great. So then we have movement. We're going to start in the village. Your defective goblin attention span means you won't sit still for long. How do they know me so well? When you enter a hex, resolve one of the actions described there and then dart off to the next. So each time we go to a hex, we'll do one action and then move on. So that's great. Okay, and then here we have hats. So goblins clearly put a lot of emphasis on hats. We're seeking out the greatest hat of all, which is the goblin crown, which has been broken apart and scattered through the woods. Before embarking on your journey, pick one of the hats. We have a tin hat, which is very sturdy, protects your noggin. If an enemy rolls maximum damage, you take none instead. Or we can take a dirty hood, once bright red, now a grimy rag. If the damage rolled when fleeing is 3 or 4, you slip away unscathed instead. And then we also have a pointy hat, which is reserved only for goblins of great wisdom. Have a peek at the contents of the secret page 18 to 19. I think, it's a secret page. So I think we're going to leave it secret for now. So let's pick either tin hat or dirty hood, and let's see how we do. Let's just randomize this. I think. So I'm going to roll a d6. 1 through 3 is going to be tin hat. 4 through 6 is going to be dirty hood. I rolled a 6, so we're going to have a dirty hood. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to our character sheet, and we'll go ahead and note that down. Uh-oh, why is that not working? You know what? We'll just do that. With my slightly defective goblin character sheet, very I think very thematic for the goblins that we seem to be playing here entirely. All right, so those are the rules of play. Next page here is advancement. So when you acquire a crown fragment, you may immediately return to the goblin village and pick one of the following boons. You cannot pick the same boon twice. So we'll come back to this. We can increase our stats. We can roll for teeth. When rolling for teeth, you may re-roll 1 die, which is like an ability. Pick 1 beast, 1 gnome, and 1 monster. From now on, they only deal half damage. Cool. From now on, all goblins address you as boss. After retrieving the 7th fragment, you don the crown, become the new Goblin King, and win the game. You can only find 1 crown fragment per hex type. Okay, good to know. Which explains, if we go back to the character sheet, we can see that we have a crown fragment, and then we also record what hex we found that crown fragment in. Did I roll my health? That's a great question. Did I miss that? To determine your attributes, yeah. Oh, next roll d6 plus 4 for health. Thank you, Econoplast. My eyes just did not want to read that sentence for some reason. I roll a nice 6. So this is actually a very, potentially very durable little goblin. So we're going to get 10 health to start. That's fantastic. Good thing you caught that. We would have died immediately otherwise. All right, so we're looking for crown fragments. Weapons. The value in parentheses is the damage that you deal. +1 to attack means +1 to your stabbiness roll during combat. We can see the variety of weapons here, ranging from fist to stabber to big stabber, stabber on a stick, and so forth. Now we have a certificate of goblin quality on the stabber, which is if we roll a 1 on damage, we need to then roll a d6 on a 1 or 2, the weapon breaks. I'm going to count on you guys to help me remember that my stabber can break if we roll a 1 on the damage. But I am going to go ahead and over here and note on my equipment list that the stabber is d4, so I remember that that's how much damage we are dealing. If it breaks, we'll have to make sure we also come back and figure out how much fists do, so we'll be fine there. All right. So, all right, now let's see. We need to begin in the Goblin Village, it said. So we'll go ahead and drop our little goblin icon on the village there. And we are here in the village. So deep in the heart of the woods lies a hidden village of crooked huts. This ramshackle place is where the goblins call home, protected not by walls, but by the foul stench that would drive any man, elf, or dwarf away. Okay, great. All right, so we're in the Goblin Village. So we get to do one thing because of our Goblin attention span, and then we're going to move out into a neighboring hex. So let's do this. Let's go over here. So I'm going to start a poll here, and we'll let you guys kind of decide at least our initial direction here. We'll see how well this works. Which way should we go after the village? And so we're going to have, oh, actually, maybe I can't do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Twitch is only letting me do 5 poll responses, which is 1 less than directions. So what I'm going to do is eliminate one of the directions with a die roll. I have eliminated northwest. So we will do north, northeast, southeast, south, and southwest. And we'll give you guys a few minutes to do that. Let's go ahead and start that poll. Let's see how that goes. All right, meanwhile, while you guys are deciding where we're going to go as we bounce out of the Goblin Village, first we need to resolve what happens in the Goblin Village. And that is, we can either shop at the Fat Goblin store, or we can ask the matron for help. So we need to pass, to ask the matron for help, we would need to pass a 4 spelliness check. If we wanted to buy things at the stores, we would need to spend some of our precious teeth. At the moment, we have 17 teeth. So, do we think it's worthwhile to buy some stuff? Apparently, we can actually just buy a crown fragment for 40 teeth. So there's a goal to think about in terms of how to get to the end where we get our 7th crown fragment. Iconoclast recommends rope. That was also standing out to me, but boy, that uses up a lot of our teeth. But it is interesting. It's the one thing that's like a utility thing. So I'm gonna follow Iconoclast's recommendation. I think we're gonna buy a rope, please, Mr. Fat Goblin, sir, please. I will expect you to pay me back when I'm the boss. What? Oh, I didn't say anything. No. So we're gonna spend some teeth there. Here you go, sir. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna rope. A good goblin rope made out of hemp. I'll try not to smoke it later. All right, so I'd love to ask the matron for help, but I don't think that I can. I think we gotta go. We gotta go. The crown fragments are waiting. Let's go. Oh my goodness, have you guys voted yet? Oh, I don't know where to go yet. Where are we going? Oh, you guys are evenly divided. No, you're gonna make me make a decision. No, I need more votes, people. We gotta know where we're going, please. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, we have a little bit of a thing going on there. That's good. Whoa. Dice are trying to escape from me over here. All right, we're down to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, by a narrow margin, we're going south. We're heading over to the Southlands. All right, we're heading off into the spooky Goblin Woods. All right, so we're in a Goblin Wood hex. So we're going to go to this page here. We are in the woods. The Goblin Woods are full of ancient trees stretching towards the skies. A wise goblin knows to stick to their shadows unless they fancy becoming supper for the wild beasts that dwell in the depths of the woodland scamps. You wander the woods. Roll d6 for an encounter. Oh, look at this. I've discovered a ferocious badger. All right. Now the question, of course, is what does that mean exactly? And what that means is that we need to go to the enemies page. We're being attacked by a ferocious badger. All right. So we go to this page here, and we find our ferocious badger. Ferocious badger has a strength of 3, does d4 damage, has 6 health, and has 3d6 teeth that we can kick out of its face once we've defeated it. So, all right. Let's see what we got here. All right, so let's go through combat again real quick. So I'm going to make a stabbiness test. So if we pop back to my character sheet here, we can see that my stabbiness is +1. So we're going to go ahead and make a stabbiness check. I've rolled a 4, which is a 5. That defeats the monster's strength, which means that I get to deal damage. I have a stabber, which does d4 damage. I've rolled a 1. So the ferocious badger, which has 6 health, has suffered 1 hit point of damage. That does not bode well for how this fight is going to go. So now he, I believe, will now deal damage. No, wait, hang on. So if you succeed, you deal damage. If you fail, you take damage instead. So we only take damage if we fail the test. So I can just keep trying to attack it. So on this round, the ferocious badger leaps out of his burrow at my face, and I stick my little stabby sword up. I did roll a 1 on my damage, so I have to check to see if the stabber breaks. Thank you for reminding me, Iconoclast. So let's go ahead and do... I rolled a 5 on the check, so the stabber has not broken. It is kind of wedged in there kind of tight, though. So I'm going to try and yank it to the side to get it out of this ferocious badger. So I'm making another stabbiness test. I have rolled a 2, plus 1 is 3, which is equal to the ferocious badger's strength. So I'm going to deal damage again with my stabber. This time I have rolled 3. That's going to reduce the badger to 2 hit points. And so I managed to rip my blade out the side. There's a gush of blood that causes the badger to snarl in anger and come at me again. It knocks me back on my back and is kind of scratching at my chest. I'm not a big fan of that, so I'm going to try another check. I roll a 6 on my stabbiness check, plus 1 is 7. So I deal some more damage. Hopefully I'll roll well here, and I do 4 damage. So as it scratches at my chest, I take my stabber, I kind of flip it over into my left hand and stab it into the side of the ferocious badger's neck, and then pull towards me. And as I pull towards me, a bunch of teeth are ripped out of the badger's mouth and kind of scattered down onto my face. Quite a few of the badger's teeth are broken, but I managed to then roll the badger off of me, and I pick up little pieces of teeth, managing to find 9 full teeth among the badger's, among the broken teeth. And so I will add those 9 teeth to my teeth, and there we go. So now I've got 18 teeth. My mouth is full of badger teeth, and we've managed to survive the woods here. To the woods again. All right, so that was our encounter. We fought a badger here in the woods. Very, very scary. And we're going to kind of continue moving south at this point. We kind of look around inside the badger's little den, his hole. He seems very poor, other than his mouth full of teeth, which he has riches in his own way. But we're going to push south, and if we come down here to the south, where we are now standing, which we can see on page 3, we are now in the battlefield, which means we need to go to page 11. A clearing stands as a somber testament to the great battle where the gnomes crushed the Goblin King's army. Bones of the fallen and their shattered weapons still lie scattered about. A burial mound looms at its heart where the Goblin King's remains lie entombed. So we can either scour the battlefield for loot, or we can visit the mound. I feel like we have just set forth onto our mighty quest to step into the shoes left by the Goblin King and lead our people to greatness. So I'm going to head over to the mound. And I discovered that there's a ghostly gnome knight standing guard there. I do not have the symbol of the human god. And so I cannot banish him. I may have made a mistake. I didn't know about the guard. Oh no. All right. Well, let's go deal with the gnome knight. The gnome knight. No. All right. Let me just double check. Yes, that is the one. All right. So we got a gnome knight here. Who's a ghost? He's a ghost gnome knight to boot. But I think we just used the gnome knight. Gnome Knight stats. Oh, no. Oh, no. All right. Great. Well, he's strength 6, so I'm sure this is going to go really well for us. We'll go ahead and we'll give this a chance here real quick. We'll give this one shot. 5 plus 1 is 6. I do hurt him, with my stabber. Yes. 4 points of damage with my stabber. That's good news. So that's going to be 9. So, well, I'm obviously winning this. Let's keep going. Oh my goodness. He's swinging the sword at me. I duck out of the way. Oh my goodness. I rolled a 7. 7 for the hit. I duck out of the way and I stab him again. I stab that ghost again for 3 more points of damage. I think I can do it, guys. I really do. He's down to 2 hit points. We've got him. I rip my sword out and I try. Oh no! I rip my sword and I trip on the mound. Oh no! I fall down and the ghost stabs his spectral pike down into me. He's gonna do a lot of damage. Oh no. Oh no. Alright. Alright, my sword hasn't broken yet. But then he does his attack, which is d6 plus 1, so 4 hit points of damage. Oh, I've never felt pain before. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of the pain. But I've gotten so close to dead. I really feel like we're gonna push through this one. Come on, man. Oh no, I failed again. My sword doesn't break, but it's just battling. Like his spectral form is hardened up, and he's coming for me. Oh no, that's 4 more points of damage. Boy, I'm in bad shape, guys. I'm in real bad shape. I would run away, but if I run away, I take d4 damage, so I would die on average. So I think my best odds of survival here are actually trying to stab her again. Stab her again. Yes, I hit him. I just need to not roll a 1 on this damage roll. I just need to not roll a 1 with that damage roll. And, oh no, I rolled a 1. He's still alive, and my sword might break. Oh, God. Oh, no. My sword is still intact, but I've got to try and hit him again. Oh, my goodness. All right, let's do it. Here we go. Yes! I rolled a 5 on the die. That's a +1. I got a 6. That's a hit. I've killed him. I've killed him. And I killed him. Come on, roll the die, please. Oh, no. I killed him, but only by shattering my sword into 1,000 pieces. As the shards of my sword go through the knight's body. The ghost knight's form, it rips his ectoplasm apart. There's a splash of ectoplasm upon the hill. And then, falling out of the ectoplasm, the 11 teeth upon which his spirit had been bound falls to the ground, and I stick those ghost teeth right in my mouth, which gives us a total of 29 teeth. Oh, my mouth is full of ivory. They will call me the Ghost Ivory. I am Ghost Ivory the Goblin. That's who I am. Looks like he's also got a 1 in 6 chance of having dropped his enchanted gnome stabber. He did not drop his enchanted gnome stabber. It vanished along with the ghost as whole. So now I have no weapon, just my fists. But I feel triumphant. Oof. I just wish I had something to eat. The stones of the mound come to life, forming a gargoyle. Defeat it to claim the treasure. No! Oh no, it's not over. Everything is terrible here. I have made terrible choices, and they're coming home to roost now. Let's go find our gargoyle. Where is our gargoyle? Where is our gargoyle? There's the gargoyle. Strength 6. That's great. 8 hit points. Has no teeth, and stabs only deal half damage. Well, it's good news is I don't have any stabbers. All right. Well, I can't beat this gargoyle. I'm gonna have to try to run away, guys. And I only have 2 hit points. I'm gonna take a d4 of damage as this gargoyle really wakes me up a little bit as I turn to flee. And the gargoyle has dealt 3 points of damage. That's gonna put me at -1 health. And so the short-lived adventures of Ghost Teeth the Goblin have ended upon the mound of the Goblin King. And his corpse will lie in eternal honor to the memory of the Goblin King. Oh, wait. Hang on. You're right. If the damage roll in fleeing is 3 or 4, I slip away unscathed instead. I only pretend to die on the mound, and instead I crawl away. I crawl away in great pain and head off. Oh, thank goodness. The gargoyle thought I was dead, and it left me there on the mound. Everything is fine. I'm gonna crawl away, up towards the road and hope I can get back. To the village, eventually. I'm hoping the road maybe is safe. It probably is, so we're probably gonna die in some other terrible way, which is that's just the fate of goblins. It's just the fate of goblins that we all die in horrible ways. All right, so we're heading to the road. So we've headed up to this hex here. The road is page 7, so we'll head there next. A wretched road carves the wooden true, the wicked work of evil gnomes. A sensible goblin knows to steer clear, for there one might stumble upon cruel men and cold-hearted elves. All right, so clearly I made a mistake coming to the road. Maybe I didn't know the road was here. Yeah, you didn't know the road was here. You thought you were just going up into the woods away from the mound, and you discover this terrible road that someone has cut through the natural glory of your wood. I've rolled a 3 for the encounter, which is a notoriously mean goose is on the loose from the village. That's the wrong page. We're going to the enemies page, which is over here. The notoriously mean goose is honking up a storm. Has a strength of 2, d3 damage, 4 health. On a roll of 1, your attack automatically fails. Such is the goose's meanness. And it doesn't even have any teeth to knock out. Alright, so that means the only way I'll fail is if I roll a 1 on this d6. I think I gotta try and beat it, because I'm still in pretty bad shape. I rolled a 7 on my attack roll. I am down to my fists, though, which means I'm only doing a d2 of damage. So I do 1 point of damage, which will reduce the notoriously mean goose to 3 hit points. So the goose comes at me, and I kind of like, yeah, there we go, boom. Oh, that kind of hurt my knuckles a little bit on your hard beak there. But if you want a box, goose, here we go. He punches the goose again, this time for 2 damage. The goose honks even more loudly and kind of flies up in the air and is trying to swoop down at my head. As it swoops down at my head, I hit it one last time, kind of reaching up and grabbing it and smashing it down to the ground. The goose, with its stupid beak, has absolutely no teeth to give me, but we have managed to survive this encounter. So let's go ahead. I don't like this road at all, so we're gonna flee away from the road and back up into the woods. And as we flee back into the seeming safety of the shadows beneath the trees, the mate of the ferocious badger that we fought earlier has unfortunately tracked us down. It's very angry that we killed its mate, and it has come for revenge, which is unfortunate for us because I don't know if we can defeat this badger now because we no longer have our stabber. Iconoclast makes a very good point. So we're gonna, as we face off against the ferocious badger, we flash back to us roasting the mean goose and feasting upon its flesh. And that's going to give us +1 hit points, which puts us back at 3 hit points, actually. We've forgotten to reverse that damage from the failed flight. So that's excellent news. That's excellent news. All right, so now we have 3 hit points instead. So that we will probably still die here, but that's how it works. So we're gonna fight this badger. So this badger was waiting for us in ambush. It's up in a tree. As I don't know what it's doing up there. It's not really how badgers work, but this one's really committed to getting me, I guess. I've rolled a 5, which is enough to deal damage to it. 1 point of damage. So it's got 5 hit points left. Let me get my tracker here. 5 hit points left on the badger. As it drives me down to the ground, I turn over and just flail at it with my fists, hitting it again for another point of damage. We're just beating it up as it tries to claw its way through the rags I call clothing. I hit it again, this time for 2 points of damage. We're tumbling around on the ground. I roll over on top of it and just start trying to I pick it up and just start bashing it into the ground furiously. Okay, 2 + 1, thankfully for my stabbiness, is 3, so I still hit it here. That's another 2 points of damage. So am I smashing it into the ground? Bam, 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 bam. And then at the end, I've got this mouthful of ghost teeth, and so I go down with my ghost teeth, and my ghost teeth bite into it without actually biting into it, but then it rips out its soul. Its little animal soul. And it fades away as its body falls limply in front of me. Oh man, that was exhausting. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is harvest its teeth. So I get 12 teeth. So we're making it. My mouth is full of these ghost teeth, though. So I'm going to put these teeth into a pouch in case I need them later. So we're going to go ahead. That's 29 plus 12 is 41 teeth. we're getting pretty wealthy out here, at least. Although I do need to heal. Oh God, I need to heal so badly. Oh, fortunately I can see the village through the trees. So, the question is, do we think badger is edible for goblins? Can I eat this? Can I eat this badger? And I'm going to say, if you're desperate enough, you can eat badger. So, that's going to give us another hit point. That was exhausting. Oof. Okay. I need to check the rules for something real quick, which is, should I have recorded my maximum health? Doesn't say. It's unclear. I think we have to assume that my original health, which I think was it 10? It was 10. My original health of 10 is a maximum health. So I'm gonna shoot. Can I record that here? Maybe. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll say 4 out of 10. That'll help us remember that. Okay. Good times. All right, I'm gonna go staggering up into the village here. That was exhausting, guys. It's a lot harder out there than I thought it would be. The tales made it sound really easy. Okay, so... Oh, man. Okay, so I need to... Wow, this is tricky. Okay, so it's a little unclear. This is useful. So, I'm going to shop at the Fat Goblin store. I'm going to say that I'm able to, like, when I shop, I can do a whole shopping trip and buy multiple things as long as I have the teeth for them. So, I definitely want to buy a better weapon, because it's scary out there. But the first thing I want to buy is a stinky potion. So we're going to buy a stinky potion for 5 teeth, putting me down at 36 teeth. But I do get a D4 of hit points back from the stinky potion. I rolled a 2 on that D4, so that's going to give me... That'll give me 6 health. So we got 6 health there. I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm going to go ahead and buy another stinky potion. That stinky potion, apparently the efficacy of the potion is less each time you take it in a 24-hour period. So so Ghost Teeth, the goblin, only gets 1 hit point back that time. So he's going to stop buying those. Now we need to figure out weapons. Oh, how many weapons you got here? So he's got a stabber on a stick, a big stabber, and a mighty boom boom. Let's go back and review what those do. So, mighty boom boom does d6 plus 2 damage. Still goblin quality though, so it might break if we stab something with it. Stab on a stick is a d4 of damage, but +1 on the attack. I don't think I need the +1 on the attack, given I already have the +1 on my stat. Big stabber is also a d6. Can we afford the mighty boom boom? The mighty boom boom would be 25 teeth. That would be most of our teeth. So the only teeth left to me would be half a dozen ghost teeth, and 1 wheel tooth. 5 ghost teeth and 1 wheel tooth to make sure I can eat. But we're going to do it. We're going to buy a mighty boom boom. And mighty boom boom. And the mighty boom boom is... What did we just say it was? It was... d6 plus 2 damage. Oops. Wait, like this. So d6 plus 2, because for some reason the lines aren't working. So we need to add more equipment. I may need to do some more stuff on the technical side of things with my character sheet. But that should be fine for now. All right. Well, guys, I'm so bored here in the village. This village is the most boring place I've ever been. Let's get out of here. You know what? We went south last time. Let's see if we have a better plan this time. So the gnomish villages to the north, those gnomes clearly scared the crap out of me. They nearly killed me. It was terrifying. So I think let's go ahead and, let's head towards, the witch's hut. Let's head to the witch's hut next. So we're gonna go down here. So we gotta go through the woods. We're going through the woods on the way to the witch. We're going through the woods on the way to a witch. The goblin woods are still full of ancient trees stretching skywards. But through this passage through the woods, everything should be fine. We're just heading through the... Oh no! There's a wolf! A rabid wolf! We can either try to hide with a sneaky check, or we can fight. What do I know about wolves? How bad are they exactly? Well, a rabid wolf has 5 strength, d6 damage, and has 6 hit points. It also has 4d6 teeth. I think we can take it. What do you guys think? Right? Like, I've got 7 hit points. It can't kill me on the first blow. And I'm confident. I get my mighty boom boom, it was just twice as tall as I am. And I'm gonna try and smash this wolf as it races towards me with its frothing mouth. That's a 7 on the attack roll. That is higher than the 5 strength for the rabid wolf. So we're going to do the d6 plus 2 damage. I've done 5 damage, which is unfortunately 1 short. So we smash our mighty boom boom down upon him, and the wolf gets heavily clipped by the big heavy. I'm assuming it's just kind of a big mighty metal rod kind of thing, smashing down. Bones sickeningly crack in its shoulder. It leaps back and kind of whimpers once and then howls. Oh! I'm kind of worried it's calling help, so I'm going to try and hit it again. Right over the head this time. Another 7 on the attack roll. That's guaranteed death. 7 more damage. So I wheel back and just smash it across. The whole goblin side of the whole side of the wolf's head just collapses in. Let's see how many teeth manage to survive the mighty blow. Well, I go and track down the spray of teeth off to one side and find 15 nice sharp wolf fangs in the wreckage of its bloodied body. Wolf meat, though, just tastes terrible. I can't eat it at all. It's the worst day of my life. In fact, it smells bad, too, and it's probably going to attract other predators, and then they're going to try... I make a run for the witch's hut. Let's go. Alright, so we head to the witch's hut here, and it's going to take us here to page 10. An old hut sits at the edge of the swamp, home to a creature feared by all who dwell in the woods, an ancient witch versed in primal magic. The matron tells a cautionary tale, warning well-behaved goblin whelps that if they don't start causing proper mischief, the witch will turn them into toads and eat them. Alright, so we can either try and feed the witch, but we have nothing to feed her. If I had anything to eat, I would be eating it myself. Can't do that. So we're going to have to try and sneak into the hut and rob the witch. So we need to test our sneakiness, and we need to get a 6. The bad news is, I have a sneakiness of -1. So there's no way for me to roll a 6. So you know what? I'm going to sneak in and steal her crown fragment. So I kind of sneak up to the hut, and I try to sneak in by walking through the door. And it turns out she's sitting right there. And what was ribbit? Ribbit. 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 Okay, well, good times. All right, so I've been turned into a toad for the next 3 hexes. In toad form, you must flee any combat, automatically fail any spelliness checks, and automatically pass any sneakiness tests. Oh, I think she's made a strategic error. All right, well, let's go to the let's hop into the swamp and see what's up there. I think that's the natural habitat of a toad, right? So the swamp is on page 9. So this is our first hex as a toad. I'm going to make a note just to make sure we're tracking that. And then we're going to head to the swamp. The fertile swamp is ripe with deliciously foul smells and goblin delicacies. Goblin youths flock here to forage worms and hunt toads, though the slimes prowling the depths ensure not all return home. And we know from the witch's hut that worms are flavorful. Try to fish something out. If you have a fishing, add 1. If you're a toad, add 2. All right. I rolled a 1. Oops. The muddy pool... Oh, but I'm toad, so I had 2, so I go to 3. You reel in a snake. Try to charm it with a spelliness, or flee, or fight. Well, I have to flee. I can't use spelliness, so I'm going to have to try... So I'll have to flee. So I hop away from this nasty snake, and the snake deals 3 points of damage to me. Ow. All right. You know what? I have a beef with that witch. We're going back to the witch's hut, which will be our second toad hex. Remember the hood. Yes, thank you, Iconoplast. Remember the hood. It's a good thing you're here. It's a very good thing you're here. Thank you. All right, so we hop back. So we go into the swamp. We see that it's just filled with snakes, and we decide that's a bad idea. I shouldn't have gone to the swamp. That was a bad idea. So I'm gonna hop back over to the witch's hut. All right, back to the witch's hut, the hut of the witch. And the witch's hut is on 10. All right, we're going to sneak in this time. So we're a toad. We automatically passed the sneaky test, and we have stolen a crown fragment. We did it. We stole a crown fragment. Yes. All right, so we have stolen the witch's crown fragment. When we steal... Why am I talking like a goblin? I'm game master mode. When we steal a crown fragment, we immediately return to the goblin village. Still as a toad, technically, but we immediately return to the goblin village and can pick one of the following boons. I don't think so. When rolling for teeth, you may reroll one die. That has not proven to be super useful. But we can pick one beast, one gnome, and one monster. From now on, they only deal half damage. Well, I did not like the gargoyle, so I'm going to spend some time training against gargoyles. And yeah, I think that's the one to go with. Yeah. It's tempting to maybe increase some of the stats, but I think actually making that gargoyle easier to fight is actually the way to go. So we're going to go with how do I describe that on the character sheet here? Half damage is the advancement. Don't really have space on the character sheet at the moment to record which ones have half damage. I'm going to do that separately. So we're going to say gargoyle. I'm going to say the rabid wolf that we keep. The woods are full of rabid wolves, and I don't like them. And let's also go ahead and say gnome knights also will only deal half damage to us. That will hopefully give us a little bit of an advantage against any gnome knights that we run into in the future. All right, but we are also in the village. So let me just double check and make sure I didn't miss some of the advancement there. Yes, all right. So we are in the village. So we're going to head back to the village here, and now we can do more stuff here. We didn't get a lot of teeth out there, but I definitely want some more hit points. So I'm going to grab one more sneaky potion. Rolled a 3, which is just enough to get us back up to our maximum hit points. I need to actually spend the teeth, though. Thank you, Fat Goblin. We still have our Mighty Boom Boom. Let's go ahead and buy one more stinky potion. I'm really enjoying this. It's a fun little interaction, and a fun little cycle here. Just a fun little solo game. And it really is like you could just play this straight and just kind of treat it as like a little simulator of the Goblin Woods. But you can also kind of get into it a bit and kind of use these as little prompts for like thinking about how things are playing out. All right, while we're waiting for people to come back from watching all those ads, we got to figure out where we're going next. I kind of liked the swamp. As a player, I'm just going to review. Interesting. I'm trying to decide. Like, I know, so there's definitely a thing in the swamp there to get the crown fragment. So there's a real risk of doing that as a toad because you have to run away from everything. In toad form, you must flee from any combat, automatically fail any spelliness tests, and automatically pass any sneaky tests. But despite the risk in that sense, having the +2 in the swamp feels like probably the best way to get the crown fragment in the swamp, unless we can find that fishing rod somewhere. So I am going to... I think I'm going to head down to the witch's hut, get turned into a toad again, and then we'll head up into the swamp and see if we can find... She's really just a friendly old woman when you think about it, honestly. Yeah, so we'll head down to the witch's hut again, and then we'll head up into the swamp and see if we can as a toad, we can suss out where the where that fragment is. And then if we can build up a little bit more reserves and so forth, then I think we can go back down and try and tackle that gargoyle down at the mound again. So we head down towards the witch's hut again, heading to page 7 for the woods. As we pass beneath the ancient trees stretching up towards the sky. 6. All right, so I find 2 little lost children wandering through the woods. If I have a pie, they would follow me, but they don't. So we both kind of, and I knock out 9 teeth from the little boy before they go scurrying off and running away into the woods. Okay, well, that was scary. Where'd they even come from? Oof. Okay, well, let's push on. Great. So we're going to head down into the witch's hut. Right there. Remind myself where that is. Page 10. All right. Let's sneak in there again. So we sneak in again. We automatically fail because I don't have the sneakiness test. And I'm turned into a toad for 3 hexes. So we'll restart our toad marker. This is perfect. Honestly, she's just a nice old woman when you get to know her. And then we head north. She's just got a thing for toads. We'll head north into the swamp for our first toad hex. And the swamp, I believe, was on 9. So we're back in this fertile swamp that's ripe with deliciously foul smells and goblin delicacies. So as a toad, we're going to add 2 to our check here. So D6, not rolling great. All right, well, I found a plump toad. I can devour it to restore D4, or I can set it free. Well, I'm already at max health, so I'm gonna free the toad. Goodbye, toad. Good luck. The toad was actually stuck in so there's these plants in the swamps, and actually I probably should have thought of these before I decided to turn into a toad and come back here again. But there's these places in the swamp where there's these places in the swamp with these big there's these big flowers, and they look really pretty, but they actually shoot out like this tongue-like thing, and then they can drag small animals back in. Not really a problem for goblins. It's actually great because you can actually they digest very slowly, so you can pry open the flowers and you can rip out whatever it happens to be half digested in there. It makes for a delicacy called kajnak, and kajnak is how this meat gets super soft in the digestive juices, of this flower. It's just kajnak. Oh, just thinking about it makes my little toady mouth water. But the problem is, now I'm a toad, so I could get caught by one of those things. Oh, I didn't think this through at all. It'll be fine. All right, I'm going to make a note in my inventory here that I freed a toad. Because I know that'll come in relevant later. All right, so we're going to keep moving on. We're going to go to another swamp hex here. We'll go up here. So it's our second toad hex. And I rolled a 4 again. I found another toad. There's so many toads. Let's go ahead and free this one too. I've freed 2 toads now. These toads are having a bad day, I guess. All right, let's go up here. Boom. All right, and 4 plus 2 is 6. Oh, look at this, guys. There's a rotten carcass here. It's got D4 tasty worms on it. And there's 1 worm on it. There's specifically 1 worm. So I found 1 worm. We're going to tuck that away for later as I poof back into goblin form. Oh, now I'm goblin again. Alright, well, not a huge fan of this. I could go back to the witch's hut again. But I think, attention deficit disorder, I think I'll have to go back there a different day. Let's just go up here. Oh god, there's a road up here too? This is the worst thing ever. What are these gnomes doing? Why are there roads everywhere now? Oh, this wretched road that's carving my forest in twain. Ah, and there's a low-level adventurer on this road. Let's find out what type of low-level adventurer it is. Adventures are on page 17. So I need to roll a d4 to determine its class. 2 is a rogue. Okay, so their base is strength 5, d6 damage, 7 health. but the rogue is going to be strength 6, dealing d6 plus 1 damage and have 8 health. If they roll a 6 on damage, they roll an extra damage die. They carry contraband. If you defeat them, roll for treasure as if you're in the caves. All right, and then let me see. So this guy is going to be a 6. So I have but with my +1, I'll have a 1 in 3 chance of hitting him. If I hit him, I'll do d6 plus 2 damage, which is very unlikely to do that. But he has contraband. It's so shiny. It's so lovely and shiny and nice, and I want it. I want it so badly. Oh no. Okay, let's run away. Run away. This is a terrible idea. I should know. Oh, okay, it's fine. Because of the dirty hood, which I finally remembered iconoclast, I rolled a 4 on my runaway damage, and instead I take no damage and I just slip away into the woods. So I come out of the woods, I look down, I see this road, and there's a creepy guy with a hood, and I have a bow and arrow and a name badge that says Robin Hood. Don't like him. He's a creep. We're gonna head back into the swamp. Oh boy, that was a close call. Did not like that at all. Okay, so we passed through the swamp again. No longer rolling at +2. Because we're no longer a toad. So I rolled a 3 and I've gotten a snake. Venomous snake. I'm pretty sure I can take this guy. So we're going to go ahead with a strength of 3. I rolled a 6. I'm going to do d6 plus 2 damage. 4 damage, so he's still up. Hit him again and kill him. So the snake kind of comes slithering out of the underbrush as we pass through the swamp. And I just bash it over the top of the head. Now you don't want to eat these because they taste terrible. They're just bad. Swamp snakes, you don't eat venomous swamp snakes. It's no good. So we won't take this corpse. I'll toss it into the nearest Cossack flower. Let it digest for a while. Pay back for freeing all those toads from them. Okay. So now the question is, where do we want to go? I think let's go ahead and go back and see if we can actually conquer the mound at the battlefield. So we're going to head south into the woods to start, making our way back towards the battlefield. In these particular woods, all right, so, we fought that badger and we killed it. And then the badger's mate came and we killed that. Well, you're not going to believe this, but those badgers had kids. And the kids are all so pissed off at me. Oh, man. Okay, so we got a ferocious badger here. Strength 3, d4 damage, 6 health. Alright, well, with my big boom boom, this angry, ferocious badger child comes out of the woods, and I just go, bash. Also, I forgot to grab teeth from the snake. So I've got 3 snake teeth, and now I've also got 3d6 goblin badger teeth. It's a pretty young badger, so its teeth aren't all that good. There's only like 8 of them. But with the snake fang, I have now 29 teeth, so that's fine. Oof, man, this fucking badger clan, right? Just the worst. Let's go down here. All right, so we're continuing on through the woods here. Oh no. So I'm going through the woods kind of lamenting about the badger. I stumble across a gnome knight who is standing over a goblin's corpse. This motherfucker. That was Tabitha. Tabitha was great. She was just minding her own business out there collecting mushrooms for the village, and this motherfucker killed him. We're taking him down. Alright, so the goblin, that's the wrong page. Goblin knight, gnome knight. Gnome knight has strength 6, d6 plus 1 damage, and 9 health. He is protected by sturdy armor. Goblin quality weapons roll for breaking after each step. So this is risky with my mighty boom boom. My mighty boom boom might break, and then I'll be boom boom sad. But here's the thing: is that he only does half damage to me, so we're going to give this a shot. So he has a strength of 6. I need to roll a 5 or a 6 on the die with my +1 to hit him, which I have done. So now d6 plus... No, I do d6 plus 2 damage to him. 3 plus 2 is 5 damage, so he takes 9. So in rage at Tabitha having been slain, Ghost Teeth the Goblin races forward and I said 5, yes. Races forward and smashes the gnome knight over the back of the head. Checking for weapon breakage, it does not break. But the gnome knight, it clashes over the back of the gnome's head. He's all armored up, right? He just kind of like turns slowly and stares at me, and I go, ah! And swing the mighty boom boom again, missing this time. So he's going to do damage to me. Okay, I'm checking weapon damage, weapon breakage first. Did not break. He swings weapon at me. Oof. Okay, so he's going to do 6 points of damage, which is halved. So we're going to go down to 7 hit points. Um, and his sword slashes across my chest. Blood begins pouring down from this giant gash. Green blood pouring down over my chest as I swing my boom boom stick back and my mighty boom boom back and forth. Mighty boom boom hits on this attack. So checking weapon breakage does not break. I deal 4 points of damage, which is enough. So he opens a nasty slash on me, but I'm just and this huge metal mighty boom boom is just caving in the sides of his armor every time I hit him. Boom, boom. And so his armor actually gets like caved in, and he starts coughing up blood and sags down to his knees. I take one last swing like a big baseball bat and just knock him across the forehead, and he goes twisting down and falls onto the dead leaves forming the floor of the forest here. Oof. Well, that was really scary. I'm sorry, Tabitha, but I am going to need to take all of your teeth to pay for potions, because I just keep getting messed up out here. All right, so first I'm at 2d6 of Tabitha's teeth that I take. So I take 8 of Tabitha's teeth. That's going to be 37 teeth. Then I'm going to go back to... oops, wrong document, Justin. Then we'll go back to the Gnome Knight here. The Gnome Knight has 3d6 teeth. Which I rolled 14 teeth. That's a very good roll. So that's going to give me 51 teeth total. And then there's a 1 in d6 chance that he drops a gnome stabber while fleeing. He did not. I hit his sword so hard it bent in half, so it's useless. It's useless! And that'll do it. Now I have a tough choice, though. I was heading down towards the battlefield, and I didn't make it. Without getting hurt pretty badly. So do I try that, or do I go back to the village? I think I gotta go back home and rest up a bit. So let's head back up, and then we'll try this again, hopefully without running into a knight in the middle of the forest. Alright, back to the woods again. Oops, back to the woods again. Oh my god, there's so many badgers out here! Another badger, this time the second son of the badger clan, oops, I need to go to 16, has approached me again. So just nothing but badgers. Badgers and gnomes in these woods. I don't like it out here. Anything but a 1 will hit. And another badger comes racing out, and I'm so tired. Whap! And I just whap the badger, and the badger goes down in a single hit. That's going to give me 10 more teeth, 10 more badger teeth as I head back into town. And Ghost Teeth returns triumphant-ish to the village. Oh my goodness. That was rough. Alright. The matron doesn't really like me, so we're not going to do that. We're going to go back and do some more shopping here. So we got 61 teeth to play with. That feels like a lot of teeth. I'm going to be honest with you. I could just buy a crown fragment for 40. Is that the way to go? Maybe. But I think I need some stinky potions first. So I'm going to buy a stinky potion and drink it for 1 hit point. I'm going to do that again for 2 more. So that puts me back at full health. Down 10 teeth. I'm actually tempted to buy a second Mighty Boom Boom just in case the first one breaks on somebody. So I'm going to do that. Mighty Boom Boom times 2. That's going to leave me with 26 teeth. That feels like a decent number of teeth to work with. So let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, Iconoplast asked, are gnome knights remotely edible or goblin coins? I would never eat Tabitha. How dare you? Unless I was like really hungry, and then yeah. And gnome flesh. My mom told me that if you eat a gnome, you turn into a gnome. They're terrifying things, man. They aren't even edible. They're some sort of like that's like I heard that's how gnomes reproduce. Is they send one of themselves out to be devoured by animals in the forest, and then all the animals turn into gnomes. Terrifying. Terrifying creatures, don't like them at all. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, anyway, terrifying. Alright, so, let's go ahead and head back out into the forest. We are going to get that crown fragment out of that battle mound if it's the last thing we do. And it might be. It's very scary out here. Alright, passing through the forest again. We have found a mushroom. We will save it for later. So we'll add a mushroom to our tally here. And that's all we got there. So we'll continue heading south back to the battle mound, which is on the battlefield rather, which is on page 11. So here at the battlefield, for those just joining us, there is a clearing that stands as a somber testament to the great battle when the gnomes crushed the Goblin King's army. Bones of the fallen and their shattered weapons still lie scattered about, and there's a burial mound looming at its heart where the Goblin King's remains lie entombed. So we could scour the battlefield for loot, but what I'm going to do is visit the mound. So, we are fighting a gnome knight. Now, we could maybe make the call that we defeated this gnome knight previously, but that was several days ago. So I think the ectoplasm has reformed into the ghostly gnome knight defender again. I'm not going to... I don't have the symbol of the human god, so I can't try to banish him. So I will have to face him in battle. So let's go ahead and get back to our gnome knight page here. I'm just going to kind of cross our fingers. These guys are tough, but I think we got them. I think we can get them. With our full health this time and a Mighty Boom Boom. Mighty Boom Boom misses. Oh, crap. He deals maximum damage. 3 points of damage. Not quite maximum. Maximum damage. And remember, because we selected him, we trained against his very tactics. We only take half damage from him. So we try again. I gotta get past you, man. Let me in. I missed again. That's not good. Okay, he only does 1 point of damage this time. That's good. Alright, and then, you know what? We're gonna take him, though, man. Got him this time. We got you this time. We got you on the run. That's 7 points of damage. No, actually, wait. That's 8 points of damage. Rolled a 6 plus 2 from the Boom Boom. So that's... He's only got 1 hit point left. Let's see if Mighty Boom Boom stayed intact, though. It did not! So I smashed through this ghost and rip ectoplasm out its side. But the ectoplasm is acidic now, and it melts through my Boom Boom. And fortunately, we bought a second Boom Boom, you son of a bitch. And I pull out my other Boom Boom. Here we go, you ghost bat. Oh, God, no. I didn't do well. He deals damage. A lot of damage. Down to 3. I'm gonna drink my stinky potion. Oh, man. So let's see how that goes. 3 hit points back. That's enough for me to stay in the fight just a little bit longer. Oh, God. Come on, man. Yes! We did it! We killed that ghost! He's down! Oh, man. That was terrifying. Battlefield. Alright. He still counts as a gnome knight, so we still get... the 3d6 teeth from him. Whoa, okay. That's great. 16 teeth from him. That's going to put us up at 42 teeth. And then he also has a 1 in 6 chance of dropping his spectral gnome stabber, which he does not. It was part of him and becomes ectoplasm. Do we dare to face the gargoyle? We have faced him before, so we know what his stats will be. So let's go ahead and take a peek at him. So we have this gargoyle. Strength of 6. We got to roll a 5 or 6 to hit him. He only has 8 hit points, but he does do d6 plus 2 damage. Now, we also selected him as a favorite enemy. So the good news is that he also will only be doing half damage. But that means he could do as much as 4 damage in 1 hit. So I think we're okay. I think we're okay to face him for at least 1 round, and then we might have to run away and tear. It's a little bit risky, particularly since we've used our potion now. But we'll have to fight through that damn ghost again if we don't do it. So we're going to face off against this gargoyle. Here we go. I don't know why you're here, but you got to go away, man. This place is for goblins only. I rolled a 1, which means there's a risk that my boom boom is immediately broken. Hang on, let me double check the breakage rolls. Gotta double check that. Yeah, okay. So I'm like, here we go. I take my second mighty boom boom and I smack him, and the boom boom shatters as I smack the hard stone skin of the gargoyle. And so now all my mighty boom booms are gone. So this did not go well. This was probably a mistake. I'm gonna be honest with you. He's gonna go ahead and retaliate with D6 plus 2 damage. Rolled a 5. That's 7. So half damage. Does it say round up or round down on the advancement there? Doesn't say. I'm gonna say round down. I'm gonna say, let's say round up. It's probably round up. Alright, so he does 7, which means he does 4 points of damage, dropping me to 2. Which means I run away from my shattered remnants of my weapons. This could go. Oh yes, I got a tasty worm. Eat the worm. Slurp it down as I run. Which puts me at 3 hit points, which is enough that I can't die on the flight attempt at least. I rolled a 3, so I slip away, and the gargoyle can't find me as I slip away from the battlefield and back into the woods. I don't like that battlefield. It feels like we should be doing better there. It doesn't. It's terrifying. The whole place is terrifying. So we slip back into the woods, and oh my god, it's another badger! Ah! This badger, I should not have angered these badgers. These badgers are so pissed off at me. It's not even funny how pissed off these badgers are. Alright, so the question is, do I dare face off against this badger? Without my mighty boom boom, it'll probably take a couple of hits. It will definitely take a couple of hits to kill it. So I can't. I gotta run away. Bloody badgers. So I'm running away. Rolled a 3 again, which means that due to my dirty hurt, I slip away before. So what actually happens is I come through the woods and I see this badger sniffing around, trying to follow my trail and find me. But I spot it ahead of time and kind of take a wide circle around it, stumbling back into the goblin village. That was exhausting. I can't believe that happened. It should have gone so much better. I do still have 42 teeth, though. Alright, well, here's the thing. So, I need a potion. At least one potion. Probably several. I'm gonna go ahead and eat this mushroom I have. That's another hit point. I'm gonna drink a potion for 3 more hit points. That puts me at 37 teeth. 1 more potion for 2 hit points. That's gonna have to be good enough. Because then I'm gonna go ahead and spend everything except my ghost teeth and one other tooth. I'm gonna spend all of that on getting another mighty boom boom. Because I just need. Yeah, and if I'm gonna survive here, I feel like I need that weapon. I need our mighty boom boom. Very powerful, very important to have that. Okay, great. All right. So what we're gonna do? We've been going on adventures for several days. We're going to take a short break. Kind of just rest up in the village. Maybe let these aching bones rest just for a little while. And then we're going to continue our adventures in 3 to 5 minutes when I come back. 5 minutes later. Welcome back to Goblin. Goblin is a solo tabletop game about a goblin's life by Wojciech Kosinski. And we are giving it a shot. The game is coming out as a Kickstarter in English this fall. Wojciech met me at talked with him at PureCon in Poland about this earlier this summer, and we've been kind of making our way through this adventure. We are playing a goblin who is currently known as Ghost Teeth because he has stuffed a bunch of teeth from a ghost into his mouth. Ghost Teeth is searching for the 7 crown fragments that belong to the broken crown of the Goblin King. If he can assemble all the fragments, he will become the new Goblin King and be able to lead his people into a bold, brave new era. At the moment, we've collected one crown fragment, having stolen it from a witch while turned into a toad. And we are currently aware of one other fragment which exists down here at the battlefield, but it is guarded by both a ghost guard who keeps reforming and also a gargoyle. And so far, we have not been terribly successful at making our way into the mound of the Goblin King, the burial mound of the Goblin King, where a fragment of the crown exists. We spent quite a bit of effort getting to a point where we could say that, and it went poorly. We had purchased 2 mighty boom booms, big, heavy goblin weapons, and one of them got burned up in the acidic ectoplasm of the ghost, and the other one shattered on the thick hide of the gargoyle, and we had to go fleeing for our lives, barely making it back to the village. We have, however, swallowed down a number of stinky potions, rested overnight, and are now ready to go back out again. However, we are not equipped well enough, in my opinion, to go attempt that battlefield mound again. We could head down to the battlefield and just kind of scout around. There's some loot on the battlefield we haven't really explored. Or we could go over and try exploring the cave. We could go to the gnomish village, or we could go to the wizard's tower. 3 of those places we haven't been yet. And I'm going to head up to the gnomish village. Those gnomes have been persecuting us for too long. Let's go see what they're building up there. Keep building roads and stuff. So to get to the Goblin Village, we're going to have to cross the road. So we'll head up to the road first here. A wretched road carves the woods in two, the wicked work of evil gnomes. A sensible goblin knows to steer clear of them. Well, that doesn't apply to us, I guess. For there one might stumble upon cruel men and cold-hearted elves. We try to cross the road. We have stumbled upon a gnome guard who is patrolling the road. Gnome guards have a strength of 5, d4 plus 1 damage, 7. Now, we are practiced against gnome knights, which means we take half damage from gnome knights, but not against gnome guards, unfortunately. But he does have a stabber, which looks real nice. We're gonna try and take him on. We have +1 to our attacks, so we're rolling a d6 plus 1, hoping to get a 5 or better. So 50-50 shots. We have hit him. We have a mighty boom boom, which is this big heavy metal club. We're going to smash him across the face for d6 plus 2 damage. Fortunately, I've rolled very poorly. I've only rolled 3 damage here. So I come running out of the woods, trying to smash him over the back of the head before he notices me. Unfortunately, I kind of trip and fall, and while the big boom boom does kind of clip his back and cause him to stumble forward half a foot, he whirls around. From the ground prone, I take a swing, kind of like wild swing with my boom boom as I try to scramble back to my feet. I did manage to hit him again. This time for 6 damage, which is enough to finish him off. So as he comes in to try and stab at me, I take just kind of a wild swing up from my position on the ground and catch him on the chin. His chin bumps up. Broken teeth come flying out of his mouth as he falls backward onto the road. With blood trickling out of his mouth. And I head over there and finish the job of cleaning out his mouth of teeth, claiming 5 teeth from him. That's going to give me 12 teeth. And then there's a 1 in 6 chance that he will drop a gnomish stabber, which he has in fact dropped a gnomish stabber. So let's go check out the gnomish stabber stat block. So a gnomish stabber is 1d6 plus 1 damage, not as much as the mighty boom boom, but it also doesn't have a risk of breaking. So I'm going to continue wielding my mighty boom boom, but I will take my gnomish stabber here for d6 plus 1 damage. So we'll keep using the mighty boom boom till it breaks again, but it's nice to have a reliable weapon on backup at this point. That means we have successfully crossed the road as well, so we'll be heading up into the Goblin Village. Goblin Village is on page 8. At the edge of the forest, where gilded grain fields sway under the sun, lies the village of the vile gnomes. These cruel and heartless creatures sneer at goblin customs and way of life, and anyone who dares defy their so-called civilized laws is swiftly impaled on pitchforks. It's high time someone finally taught them a lesson. So we can engage in mischief or attempt to plunder the mayor's chest. If we look down at the mayor's chest, we can see that we can skip past and get into the mayor's chest, into the mayor's area more easily if we have done mischief in the village. So, and I don't think we can really... So to get into the... So I have to beat a gnome guard at the... I'm peering out through the woods. I don't actually have binoculars, but if I hold my hands up like this, it helps. I have to beat a gnome guard, tricky, and then I'd have to try and sneak past the vigilant mayor with a sneakiness of 5. Now, unfortunately, our sneakiness is at -1. We are our stabby king, but otherwise kind of crappy as a goblin. Mind your tongue, I'm great. So we're probably not going to be able to sneak past him. So this is a very risky way of doing this. So I think what we want to do instead is, looks like if we complete all of the mischief, then everyone will be looking for us in the village. We can just walk in and loot his chest. So it's going to take us several passes here to do the mischief, because we can only do one of them at a time, and then we come back to the village. But let's see how far we can get with this. So engage in mischief. If you fail, face a gnome villager. Each act of mischief can be performed only once. Let's go on the list. We're going to try and pose as the Tooth Fairy and swindle the kids out of 1d6 teeth. We need to pass a 3 spelliness check. Our spelliness is also at -1, so you need to roll a 4 or better on the d6 here. I rolled a 3, so 3 minus 1 is 2, so I have failed. So I have so I'm like, kids, come here! I want your teeth! And the kids run screaming off into the village, little gnome children, and then who were just recently spawned from probably like toads eating gnome flesh, as we established earlier. And a gnome villager comes running out of a house nearby, screams at me, and comes yelling at my face. The gnome villager has a strength of 3, d4 damage, and 5 health. So as the villager charges towards me, with my +1 stabbiness, I need to roll a 2 or better, so anything but a 1. I rolled a 2, which is +1, 3. So we're going to do d6 plus 2 damage, so there's a good chance I can take this guy out in one hit, which I do. So this gnome villager comes, hey, leave our kids alone, or whatever that civilized gobbledygook is, and I just smash him across the face with my mighty boom boom, and he goes down. I quickly scavenge 5 teeth from him and then go scurrying off into the nearby woods. So for those of you just joining us, we can only do one activity in each hex each time we're there, then we have to move on. So we're going to run off into the woods and hide for a while, assuming there's nothing in the woods that's going to cause us any problems. Unfortunately, as soon as we go into the woods, the gnomes release one of their rabid wolves. Apparently the gnomes are breeding rabid wolves to attempt to destroy the ecology here in the forest. It's really terrible. They release one of their rabid wolves to come chasing after me. I can attempt to force sneakiness to hide, or I'll have to fight. So rabid wolves, kind of nasty. 50-50 shot at hitting them, but they do d6 damage. I do have them as a favorite opponent. So you know what? These wolves need to die. These wolves need to die. Unfortunately, not this one. He takes me by surprise before I can get around. I rolled a 2, so I failed on the stabbiness check. The wolf manages to pounce on me. Oh, man. I rolled a 6 on the damage die. Fortunately, as I mentioned, we trained specifically against these wolves in Goblin Adventurer Camp. And so, Goblin Quester Camp. And so we're gonna take 3 damage from that. It's gonna knock us down to 6 hit points. That is unfortunate. I've got no choice there. He's got me pinned to the ground. I try and bring the mighty boom boom around. Oh no! I rolled a 1. So first off, my mighty boom boom might have broken. It did not, thankfully, but I can't get it around. He's got my arm kind of pinned, and he deals 1 more point of damage to me. His teeth kind of snarling down around me. I really hope I don't get rabies. I gotta get out of here. I've managed to fail again. He does 1 more point of damage. So we're just kind of like locked in this death match on the ground as he's whittling away at me here. Oh no, I missed again. Terrible rolling. He does 1 more point of damage. Just gnawing at me. Fine. I hit him. Got to roll well enough now to hopefully take him out. I managed to free up my arm. Only 3 damage on him, so he's down to 3 hit points. But I do manage to roll away from him and get back to my feet. He's kind of like pacing and circling around me, snarling at me. I take another big swing and hit him again. And this time I smash him across the face, and I just keep hitting him over and over again until he doesn't get up anymore. Stupid, stupid wolf! With all of your delicious-looking teeth. 15 of those teeth. So I'm going to grab all those teeth. That'll put me up at 32 teeth. That's pretty good. I like that. Okay, so... ouch. I think we need to... Hey, Sultan Sass Games, thanks for following the Alexandrian here. He's a great guy. He's a friend to goblins everywhere. Thank you very much, Sultan Sass Games. It's great to have you here as a member of the community. We are going to... having taken a bunch of damage from that wolf down to 3 hit points, we're going to have to try and sneak back across the road and into our village again. So we're going to head down to the road here. As we try to cross the road, we find D3 onions that fell from a cart. This is a great day. And in fact, there's 3 of them. So I've got onions times 3. That's excellent news. We're going to hold on to those. And then we'll head back into the Goblin Village. I gotta track Mischief somewhere too. Hang on. 5 minutes later. Back in the village. And we need to stock up. So I'm gonna spend some money on stinky potions. Each stinky potion costs 5 teeth and heals D4 hit points. So my first one's gonna heal 4. That's great. And drop me down to 27. We're gonna do 1 more of those. Another 4 hit points healed, so that's gonna max us out. And I'm gonna buy 1 more so we have one for the road, because the potions can be literal lifesavers out there. So we have an extra potion. That drops us down to 17 teeth. I don't think there's anything else we need to buy right now. I am actually looking at trying to buy a crown fragment here, because getting an advancement on stabbiness, I think, would actually really help this character build and let us hit things harder and faster. But for right now, we're gonna head back up into the forest. Excuse me, actually crossing the road, rather. Crossing the road back to the gnomish village. So let's see what happens on the road. A notoriously mean goose has broken loose from the gnomish village and is chasing us down the road. Let's go ahead and check out those goose stats. Goose stats are goose are terrible. They're easy to kill, but they have no teeth. It's just mean. So anything but a roll of 1 will hit this goose. I've rolled a 4. That's a hit. I'm still using the boom boom, so it's going to be a d6 plus 2. That's 7 points of damage. So this goose comes chasing me down the road, but I'm just sick of these geese. So I just smash the goose with my boom boom and leave it dead in the road. Actually, no, wait. I'm taking the goose. I want to cook this goose. 1 goose. We'll cook this goose later and have a good meal. And that lets us head up back into the Goblin Village. Excuse me, the Gnomish Village. Which is on page 8. We're going to do some more mischief. We're just heading down the list. We're going to steal a pie. We got to pass a 3 sneakiness test. Our sneakiness is -1, so we just, even though we're bad at this, pie just smells so good. It's a goose pie. I rolled a 4, -1 is 3. That's a pass. I've stolen a pie, and I go scampering off into the woods with my delicious pie, which also means that my mischief now includes a stolen pie. Fantastic. All right. I'm going to scamper off into the woods. And in the woods we find a gnome knight standing over another goblin corpse. You son of a bitch. These gnome knights are the worst. Alright, gnome knights. We need to get to the gnome knights here. Gnome knights. Alright, so we are trained against gnome knights. They do half damage against us. He's got a lot of teeth. But I don't want to fight him. We're gonna... Oh, I went into the woods. Hang on. I looked at the wrong table. Never mind. There's not a gnome knight here. I lied to you all. No, it is a gnome knight. Never mind. I was right the first time. Okay. Plus 2d6 teeth if you defeat him. You know what? Let's go for him then, because with the plus 2d6 teeth, this is a valuable. Plus, we need to avenge our comrades. Connor was a noble goblin. He was just up here trying to find some worms, and this motherfucker killed him. All right, let's take a swing at this guy. 50-50 shot at hitting him. We hit him. And that is 7 points of damage. It was a guard, right? I'm not misremembering this completely. No, it's a gnome knight. I'm looking at the wrong guy. Hang on. More hit points. Gnome knight. Still hit him. But did 7 points of damage. So we still got 2 hit points left. So that guy's like carving up my goblin friend for food when I come up and smash him across the back of the head. He goes stumbling forward, and I try to follow up. Oh, actually, I need to check and make sure that my goblin quality weapon didn't break. It did not. So now I try to follow up and smash him over the head again. This time with the gnomish stabber that we have that isn't vulnerable to his armor. I miss. As I try and change my weapons, I kind of fumble a little bit. He returns and hits me for 3 points of damage. That's after the halving. So I try and like switch to the stabber to get through his armor, and he whirls around and cuts deeply into my arm. I kind of curse, Koshnak, and stumble away, swinging back with the stabber, missing, unfortunately. He'll hit me again for 3 points of damage. I think this might have been a mistake, guys. Oh, no. But we'll try one more time. We got him. We got him. We don't have him. We don't have him. Oh, no. He does 3 more points of damage. I'm going to swallow a potion. Going back up to 4. And as I swallow the potion, I also try and just poke my stabber at him. Try and keep him back. This time I hit him for 1d6 plus 1, which is automatically death for him. Death to the knight! He does not drop his stabber, but he does have 3d6 teeth. 12 plus 2d6 from Noble Connor. Another 12, 24 teeth in total. So that's going to bring us up to 41 teeth. I'm going to kneel on one. I'm going to kneel down next to the goblin and say, Connor, you are a noble man who brought many worms back to the village. Thank you so much for everything you did for us. I'm gonna take your teeth now. And I rip his teeth out and drop them into my pouch. Those will be useful later. I'm in a lot of pain, but fortunately I have some onions that I can eat, and I'm gonna roast this goose, and that's gonna bring me back up to 8 hit points. I also drank this potion. Tooth rich, but worm poor indeed. All right. I'm going to go ahead and give the village one more shot while I'm up here. I may be pushing my luck, but we'll do it anyways. I think I've got enough hit points to make this okay. So let's see. We've posed at the Tooth Fairy. We've stolen a pie. Hey, look down there by the lake. There's a fisherman's fishing rod. That should be useful. So I'm going to head down there and steal the fisherman's fishing rod, or at least try to. So I need to roll a 5 or a 6 because of my -1 sneakiness. I rolled a 6. That's a success. So we can add, let's go ahead, we're going to add a fishing rod to our list of things. And then we're also going to go in here and we'll add fishing rod to the list of things that we have managed our mischief with. And then it's back into the woods again, crowing with success. A gnome stabber in one hand and a fishing rod in the other. We will take all of their rod-shaped things, and they will be left with no rod-shaped things if I have anything to say about it. Unfortunately, what I do is I end up running right back into another gnome knight standing over the corpse of the other gnome knight and also Connor. This is terrible news for me. Do I want to deal with it? It's a big chance to deal with this knight. I gotta hit him at least twice. 1 in 3 chance of hitting him. I'm gonna run away. I don't like it. I'm running away. I rolled a 4, so I actually sneak away. I see him. So they're investigating the bodies I left in the forest before. So I'm like, you know what? Back to the village! Back to the village! And back to the village we go. And Screw these gnomes. I'm going to piss in the milk barrel. I failed to piss in the milk barrel. So with my trousers kind of around my knees, pissing everywhere, I go running back into the woods again, having failed to piss in the milk barrel, but definitely pissed them off. They're definitely pissed off. Let's go ahead and add milk barrel to our list of things. It looks like it might be getting a little bit larger. Let's drop the font size down a little bit, fit everything on there. Okay. Back into the woods we go. Oh no, I think the gnomes are on to me. They're angry and they're everywhere. But, oh man, I've stumbled upon a bush with a bunch of berries on it. So I follow the ground, kind of sitting on the ground next to that, and I'm going to munch those berries for 1 hit point. Delicious berries. I listen to the sounds in the distance of the gnomes screaming and yelling and trying to track me down in the woods over there. You jerks. I think you're right, Accomplice. If we were towed with a fishing mod, with a fishing pole, we would add +3 in the swamp. We would be a fishing toad, which is such an alluring image that will probably be the next thing that we do. But right now, back into the village. They're all here in the woods looking for me, so they probably won't be able to find me out. They probably won't be able to find me when I go to hunt down and devour the village rooster to restore full health. You sons of bitches. I slaughter that rooster, and I eat that rooster, and I go all the way back up to 10 health. So screw you guys. And then I go scampering back into the woods one last time to eat my rooster in peace next to the berry bush that I've cleared off all the berries, but I'm gonna go back there. But on my way to the berry bush, I find a different berry bush, and those are delicious too. Yes, yes. I munch on those even though I'm quite full already, and then I eat that rooster just to show them. And now I can hear them all over the place, crawling through the woods, calling for their lost rooster. Messy, messy people. But it doesn't matter, because everyone's running around. So I go back, and I sneak up to the mayor's house. The guard's gone, he's looking for me. The mayor's gone, looking for me too. So I crack open the chest, and inside I find another crown fragment. So this is gnomes, and we end up fleeing away back across the road, back to the Goblin village with our second crown fragment. That's excellent news. So we're going to pick an advancement. This time I'm going to take +1 stabbiness. Because having a little extra attack, I think, is where we definitely need to be at. So we're going to take the +1 stabbiness advancement. We're at full health. We're going to go ahead and buy 2 potions. Just to have them. And then we'll head through the woods to the witch's hut. Back to the witch's hut. We're going to follow the advice. We're going to be a fishing toad in just a moment. Assuming that no badgers sabotage us in the woods. You know what? It seems to be berry season. I rolled another 5 in the woods, which means I found berries down here as well. We're still at full health, but I'll munch those berries as we head over to the witch's hut. Witch's hut is on page 10. So what we're going to do is... All right. So we freed some toads in the swamp earlier, so there's a chance that these toads are here seeking revenge on the witch. This is not the case. Those particular toads were not polymorphed travelers. So we automatically fail the sneakiness test because we're at -1 sneakiness, which means we're turned into a toad for 3 hexes. I'm starting a new toad tracker as we head up into the swamp. The fertile swamp is rife with deliciously foul smells and goblin delicacies. Goblin youths flock here to forage worms and hunt toads, though the slimes prowling the depths ensure that not all return home. We're going to try and fish something out. So we are a toad, and we have a fishing rod. As Iconoplast pointed out, that gives us a +3. We do gain max health. I'm already at max health. But as Iconoplast pointed out, we're going to get +3 on this roll. So hopefully we'll get a crown fragment. 5 + 3 is 8, which is more than 7. That is another crown fragment. We're on a roll, people! We're on a roll! So that's going to mean that we go to the swamp and we immediately get a crown piece. And we get another advancement. So the question now is, cannot pick the same boon twice. So our options are increase stealthiness, increase spelliness. From now on, all goblins address you as boss. I think we'll hold off on that one. When rolling for teeth, you may reroll 1 die. I think, let's do spelliness. Let's do +1 spell, which will give us effectively a +0 to our spell. All right, that also means that we are back in the village and can buy more stuff. Do we need to buy more stuff is the question. I don't think that we do at the moment. I think going out and actually earning a bunch of teeth to buy another crown fragment is actually probably not a bad idea at this point. Maybe not. We'll see how that balances out. So the question then is, where do we want to go next? So I'm very scared. I guess that's so. One option would be that we could buy more potions to have a lot of potions, and then go back down to the battlefield now that we have enough. Oh wait, what? Compass says it tells you to increase health by 1d6. I thought you added 1d6 max health. Oh, for the crown fragment. Oh, and health. Oh, yeah, and health by d6. You're right. I've not been doing that. I am much weaker than I should be. So I've done those twice. Thank you for that. I completely blanked the other half of that. So let's get some extra hit points, hopefully. My first d6 roll is a 1. Wah wah. And another 1. Okay, well, it was worth a shot. Okay, so not the greatest health improvements from those, but good to have them. So we can go back down to the battlefield. We do have like a weapon that won't break this time, which will be nice. We also, so like I said, buy some extra potions so that we have a bit more leeway down there to recover between the 2 fights we have to do to get that crown fragment. Otherwise, there's the cave and the wizard's tower. I think let's go to what we know and try and finally crack open this burial mound. These gnomish bastards can't keep us from our king forever. Oh, sorry. Before I leave, I will buy those potions, though. I'm going to buy 2 more potions. You know what? 3 more potions, just to have them. So it'll drop us down to 16 teeth. Feel a little tooth poor here. But I still got my ghost teeth. That's why they call me Ghost Tooth. So then we are in the woods. Unbelievable. That badger's tracked me down again. So those of us joining us, we killed a badger, and then the badger's mate tracked us down, and then the badger's kid tracked us down, and then the badger's other kid tracked us down. This is actually not one of the badger's kids. It's one of the badger's grandkids, who has now tracked us down to avenge both their mother, their aunt, their grandmother, and their grandfather. So they've got a lot of vengeance going for them, but not enough. So I roll 8 on the attack, pushes strength 3, and then that's going to be 6 points of damage, which is enough to kill another badger with a casual swipe of my mighty boom boom. And I take a few moments to harvest 8 teeth from it. You know, now I think about it, it's possible that the reason they keep tracking me down is because I got a pouch full of badger teeth. I mean, that might be the case. I'm okay with it, though. We keep heading south down to the battlefield. Oops. Do I want to loot, or do I want to go ahead and go for the mound? I feel like... let's go for the mound. We're going to do it. So we're going to go ahead. Ghost Knight has reformed from his ectoplasmic remains once again. Son of a bitch. And that means we need to fight a gnome knight. So we are now at... Let me double check here. We're at stabbiness +2. He has a strength of 6, so we need to roll a 4, 5, or 6 to hit him. I am attacking with my Mighty Boom Boom, even though there's a risk of it breaking off. Well, actually, maybe I should do it the other way. No, I'll attack with the Goblin, with the Gnomish Stabber that I have procured. I rolled a 6 to hit. That's a hit. And so I'm going to do d6 plus 1 damage. I rolled a 5 plus 1 is 6. So the ghost forms and begins muttering its ghostly curses at me, but I'm tired of this guy, so I just stick the Gnomish Stabber through him and begin stirring up its ectoplasmic guts. And then I rip it off to one side, but unfortunately, it kind of just crawls up the... I kind of like try to rip it to the side, but it's actually kind of stuck in its ectoplasmic mass as it moves towards me and... Oof. Deals 3 points of damage to me. So this acidic ectoplasm is like oozing onto me. I try again to wrench my Gnomish Stabber free. I rolled a 6, which is an 8. That's a hit. 1d6 plus 1 damage. Come on, man. That is 3 points of damage. So this time I do, in sort of a whirlpool motion, just swirl it around, sending spatters of ectoplasm back and forth all over the top of the mound, including one large gob of it, which splatters onto... which spatters onto the gargoyle, who is nearby. But before we fight the gargoyle, or as the gargoyle swoops down towards us, we're going to do a couple of things. First off, the Gnomish Knight did not drop a Gnome Stabber, but did leave 12 ghost teeth behind. So I'm going to claim another 12 ghost teeth from that guy. And then we go to the gargoyle. As he swoops down now, before the gargoyle reaches me, I will swig one of our potions, which only gives me 1 hit point, but I think I'll go ahead and just live with that for right now. You know what? Let's go. I'll drink another potion. So I drink 2 potions, getting back to full health, dropping me to 3 potions, and then we got to face off against a gargoyle. Gargoyle has a strength of 6, d6 plus 2 damage, although we are trained against the gargoyle as well, so they'll deal half damage to me, and then 8. Has no teeth, and stabs only deal half damage. Okay, let me just double check our weapons here. I have to conclude that the Mighty Boom Boom is not a stabber, right? So I'm going to switch back to my Mighty Boom Boom for this guy. Let's try and hit him. I rolled a 1, so I did not. In fact, that means that my Mighty Boom Boom might once again shatter upon this bloody gargoyle's rocky hide. And in fact, yes, my Mighty Boom Boom immediately shatters and breaks as I try and swing it against this gargoyle, which is the exact same thing that happened last time. It's just a goblin's fate. In addition, this gives him the opportunity to hit me for 6, halved is 3 damage. Alright, so the question now is, do we push on with this with a Gnomish Stabber that's dealing half damage? I think I'm going to try and give it a little bit of a shot here, just because I'd rather not have to fight with that knight again. I'm really tired of this burial mound. But unfortunately, I rolled poorly on my attacks, because he's going to deal another 3... No, sorry. Yes, that's another 3 damage after being halved, so that's 6 damage. One more time. That is also a miss. He's going to deal 4 halved is 2 damage, and I gotta run away, I think. I gotta run away. I'm going to drink a potion. I only got 1 hit point back, so yeah, now I'm going to run away. Let's run away. Rolled a 4, so I slip away from the gargoyle, and due to my dirty hood, the gargoyle is unable to do any more damage to me as I creep my way back into the line of the forest trees at the base of the battlefield, the muddy battlefield, and attempt to return to the village so we can once again try to build up the resources to take out the burial mound. Kind of driving me nuts. All right. In the forest as I return, encounter lost siblings wandering in the woods. If you have pie, they will follow you wherever you go. Otherwise, knock out 2d6 teeth before they scurry away. So the lost siblings, we know if we give them to the witch, she will give us a crown fragment, but we already have her crown fragment, so I don't feel a need to feed the witch 2 lost kids for no reason. I don't know what these human kids are doing out here, but at least they're not gnomes. But I will punch them in the face again and take, you guys gotta go home! And I'll take 9 of their teeth, which will get me to 45 teeth. I return to the village. Somewhat embarrassed that I still haven't got that crown fragment. I swear I'm the chosen one. I swear I am. Even if they're not, you know, choosing me. Exhausting. Okay. Alright, so... exhausting. Alright, so what we're going to do here... I need another Mighty Boom Boom, so we'll start off by buying a Mighty Boom Boom. Mighty Boom Boom. 1d6 plus 2. And then I need to get my health points back up with the Stinky Potion. So we'll start buying those. So Stinky Potion 1, 3 hit points. Stinky Potion 2, 3 more hit points. I'm going to call that good enough. And keep 10 teeth. Alright, let's try it again. One last time at this bloody battlefield. I mean, what's the worst that could happen, right? I could stumble onto a gnome knight standing over a goblin corpse is what could happen. I'm sneaking away. We're not doing this. I sneak away without dealing with it. I just want to deal with this battlefield. I want the battlefield to be done. Alright, we're going to head up there. We're going to fight that gnome knight one more time with the goblin stabber. Here we go. Immediately miss him. He deals 1 point of damage. Try again. Miss him again. He deals 2 points of damage this time. Come on, man. Just go down. I've beaten you 3 times before. You can just die. 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 Alright, that's 3 points of damage on him. Try and keep up the assault successfully with 2 more points of damage. He hits me for, that's 6, halved is 3 points of damage, down to 5. That's not great. I hit him, this time for 7, and he goes down. So with a deep sigh, I have taken out this ghostly knight again, and he has dropped even more of his ghost teeth. 8 of them, in fact. And so I will take those teeth. Does he drop his ghostly stabber? No. I'm so tired. Alright, I'm going to drink a potion to get 3 hit points back, and then 1 more potion to get 4 hit points back, down to 1 potion. But now we can fight the gargoyle once again. Gargoyle, take my Mighty Boom Boom. What's the worst that could happen? I could miss. At least it didn't shatter. That's an improvement. We're improving. 2 plus 2 is 4. Halved is 2. So 2 points of damage as the gargoyle slashes me. I attack him again. I miss again. He's kind of flying up above me where my swings can't hit him. That's another 2 points of damage from him, though. I'll try again. Come on, man. Get out here. Fight like a man. Oh, you're not a man. You're a gargoyle. He does 3 points of damage. Come on. Get down here. I hit him. That's going to be, because I'm using my Boom Boom, that's going to be 7 points of damage. Unfortunately, he has 8 hit points, so he still has 1 hit point left. So I bat him out of the sky, and he goes crashing into the side of the burial mound. I miss him again. He slashes up with his claws, dealing 3 points of damage. I swallow my potion. I need a good roll here, otherwise I'm going to have to run away. I rolled a 4, so that's going to get me to 6 hit points. I've got like 1 more around here to try and take him down. 4 plus 2, because of the plus 1 stabbiness, is a 6, which is enough to hit him. He's only got 1 hit point left, so that is definite death. And so I knock him from the sky. He takes 1 last slash at me with his claws, but then I just pound on him. kind of pounding him into shards of rock are shattering off and cascading down the side of the burial mound. And then, in triumph, at long last, Ghost Tooth cracks open the ceremonial seal upon the tomb, and I pass within, and I claim at long last the crown fragment that is still lodged into the skull of the Goblin King. I yank that out, and that's going to get us one more advancement as I return to town with now 4 of the crown fragments, which is just enough. I can kind of paste them together, and they kind of sit lopsided on my head. Clearly not the full crown yet, but I'll tell you, man, it's getting close. People know what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead. I would like some more health, so we'll increase our spelliness now, too, to get that health boost that you guys very helpfully... Actually, not, sorry. I'm going to increase sneakiness, is the one I haven't done yet, to hopefully get a better than a roll of 1 on my health boost. I rolled a 3 this time, which is at least better than what I rolled before. The 1s on the first 2 times. So, health goes up to 15, which is not bad. It all balances out. I rolled really well on my original health roll, so we had that going for us. I've only got 18 teeth, but I definitely need to get some health back. Actually, I should also get the health and the increase. So I'm 6 down, so I'm going to buy a potion for 3, and I'm going to buy another potion for 1. And that, I think, is going to have to be as far as I take that, because I like my ghost teeth too much to give them all up. I do have a pie I could eat if I need to. Okay, so there's 2 more crown fragments out there. 1 has to be at the Wizard's Tower, and 1 has to be in the cave. The cave scares me still, partly because I think to succeed in the cave, I'd have to go back to... and I didn't actually move us back there when we went back from the advancement. So I think Wizard's Tower next. What do you guys think? Let's try the Wizard's Tower. I'm going to head over here to the road, try and cross the road again. Very dangerous, but we'll give it a shot. Ooh, I can also, that's right, I can buy 1 fragment for 40 teeth. That's right. Thank you for reminding me of that. So that might be our final, we'll see if I can get a run on some good money again. All right, so we try and cross the road, and I find D3 onions, which is in fact, that's the wrong die. I find D3 onions, which is actually 1 onion. So I now have also an onion, which is great. Actually, you know what? I'm going to eat that onion immediately and get up to 14 hit points, because I'm going to need it eventually anyways. So tasty onions, munching on tasty onions, I head across the road and up to the Wizard's Tower, where we have not been before. And we're going to head to the Wizard's Tower, which is pages 12 and 13, apparently. Uh-oh, this looks scary. Rising far above the treetop stands the tower of a powerful wizard, its peak lost in the clouds. A smart goblin would do well to steer clear, as the wizard is a well-known friend to the gnomes. The tower's master is often away on long journeys, leaving his home guarded by traps and minions. Okay, so we can... The wizard has left his window open. It's so high up that only an enchanted rope will get you there. We only have a rope, so that's not going to help us. Climb the tower. The tower has 5 floors. The wizard's chamber is at the very top, and within lies his treasure. To determine what's on floors 1 to 4, roll D46, roll a D4 and a D6, and read them left to right. If you leave the tower to return at a later time, you will have to re-roll the floors. Apparently the wizard does remodeling. After rolling up any given floor, you may choose to return to the bottom. If you flee from a fight during your climb, you'll find yourself back at the bottom. If you find a hat on any floor, you can wear it, discarding your old one. When you reach the 5th floor, you find the wizard's treasure and the crown fragment within. Well, this sounds terrifying. Let's do it. Let's see what happens. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? So we're going to go ahead. We're going to replace our Mischief Managed, because we've managed all that mischief. So we'll replace that with Wizard's Tower is the new thing we're tracking. And we'll have a level 1 here. Let's find out as we go into the tower and kind of poke around in a terribly irresponsible way. I've dropped my die. In a terribly irresponsible way, what's in it? So I roll a d4, which is a 3, and I rolled a d6, which is a 2. So the first level, therefore, is on the next page. 32 is a levitation glyph. Need to make a spelliness check or become suspended mid-air. I need to eat something to come back down. And I'm kind of wishing I hadn't eaten that onion on the way here. But so level 1 is a levitation glyph. Just for reference. And we'll put the number there too. Just to make sure I'm doing this correctly. So after rolling up the floor, I could just choose to return to the bottom instead. But I do have a pie I can eat, so I might as well try this test. So let's go ahead and roll spelliness, which is a +0, because we do have an advancement on spelliness. So we just need to roll, what was it? We need to roll a 5 or a 6. We got a 1 in 3 shot here. I rolled a 6. Nice try, wizard. You can't get me that easily. Let's go ahead and check out floor number 2. 31 is what I've rolled for that. That's unfortunate. Level 2 is a death glyph. 31. I need to make a spelliness check of 6 or die, unless you have an enchanted stabber. I do not, but my reading of this tower is that when I see the death glyph, I can choose not to deal with it. So I don't want to deal with the death glyphs. I'm going to return to the bottom floor, and I'm going to be, that's nice, thank you so much, that place is terrifying. Let's go check out the caves instead. Don't like that. Don't like that. So we pass south through the woods, stumbling upon a bush bearing berries. Munch a handful to restore D4, which will put us at maximum health. Just delicious berry season here in the forest. You gotta love it. And then I'll head down to the cave, which is on pages 14 to 15. The cave. Hidden deep in the woods is the entrance to a network of caves sprawling beneath the forest. Some speak of forgotten treasures hidden within, while others warn of dangers lurking in the dark. Many a goblin has met its demise in the winding tunnels, never to find their way back above. Explore the cave. This means drawing a map as you explore. Oh, this is cool. Grab a separate sheet of paper or use the back of your character sheet. If this is your first time in the caves, draw an oval-shaped room with 3 exits. All right, so what we're going to do here, we're going to replace our overworld map. Oops. We're going to replace our overworld map with the map of the dungeon that we're going to draw here. So it says, if this is your first time in the caves, draw an oval-shaped room with 3 exits and mark it as the entrance. Nothing happens there. So we'll go ahead and put that. Let me get colors here. So we got the entrance here. What's that operation? Tweak font size, obviously. Get that down to there. All right, so we have our entrance. Great. So when we follow one of the exits, roll on tables 1, 2, and then 3, which is on the next page. We'll look at that in a moment. We'll go ahead and close that. We'll leave the Wizard's Tower there. But okay, so nothing happens in the entrance. So we roll on tables 1, 2, and also table 3, which is over here, to see what you find. And then that's the way that works. So we'll go ahead. Let's pick an entrance. I'm gonna head northeast, I think, first. Yeah, northeast first. No, so I'm gonna head northwest first. Northwest first. So we roll for room shape. I rolled a 4, so it's an L-shaped room. Maybe I shouldn't be drawing quite this large. We'll see how this goes. So we're gonna draw an L-shaped room. Kind of like that, I think. That looks great. Then we roll for a number of exits here. I rolled a 1, so it's a 1, but it leads downwards. You'll need a rope to proceed. So I'll draw this as like a little hole here. And then with dotted lines down to what will be a new level we'll put over there, we'll say. Good thing is we bought a rope. We bought a rope day 1. We were on top of this, so we are ready to climb down. But next we need to see what is actually in this L-shaped room, so we need to roll for encounters. Roll a d6. If you're following the ghost's advice, we have not talked to a ghost yet, add 1 to your roll. However, if you roll a 1, play out option 0. So we aren't following the ghost's advice, so we just are rolling a d6. 5. 5 is a trap. We need to make a sneakiness roll or to avoid it or take d4 damage. Okay, trap. All right. Sneakiness roll is just flat up roll because I'm at a -1 from my stat, +1 from advancement. I rolled a 4, so I have avoided the trap, and I have disarmed the trap. So the trap is now presumably gone forever. So we will go ahead and indicate that as well. Let's go ahead and use our rope. Let's keep going. Actually, wait a minute. Can we? So we cannot find the crown fragment here unless we can get advice from the ghost, who I believe is over on the battlefield. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm actually going to head back to the entrance and leave. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to go back to. I think we're going to head back and. Oh, it's on the treasure table too? It is on the treasure table too. Okay, let's poke around a little bit more then. We won't leave quite yet. Let's take the rope and go down. All right. So new room on the lower level is a square room. So let's draw a square up here. Number of exits, 3. Roll to 3, which means 2 exits. We'll go ahead and say that 1 goes this way and 1 goes this way. And then the encounter for this, I rolled a 1. The entrance. If the entrance is already on the map, I got lost. Erase the entire dungeon except for the room you're in. Okay. Great. Okay, so this is now the entrance. Yep. All right, so this is now the entrance. Good enough, I think. And then we're going to go ahead and literally do what it told us, which is to just erase the rest of... Oops, that's not it. And erase the rest of the dungeon. Goodbye, dungeon. I'm very confused in here. No. If I roll a 1... if I roll a 1, if I'm following the ghost's advice, it turns to 0. All right, let's go ahead. We'll go this way. By this way, I mean directly east. All right, so oval room with 3 exits. All right, so why did that suddenly shrink so much? I'm on the wrong tool. Come on. Oval room with 3 exits. And then the encounter here will be 5, which is a trap. Another trap. We need to make a sneaky check to avoid it. What a terrible way for us to have gone here. Let's try the sneakiness check. Failed, so I'm going to take d4 damage from the trap. This also doesn't disarm the trap, took 1 damage from it. So they'll have to face that trap every time I come back this way. Let's go ahead and I'm going to head north and see if I can connect back up with where we were coming from. Mainly because I kind of want to get back to the entrance if possible. Oval room up here. 3 exits, one of which will be that way, and then we'll go ahead and do 2 this way as well. All right, and then encounter. Uh-oh. We have encountered a blood and loot crazed low-level adventurer. So we need to roll d4 for class. We have encountered a warrior. So his base strength is 5, but he's going to have a strength of 7, which means we'll have to roll a 5 or higher ourselves to hit him. He'll do d6 plus 2 damage. He has 10 health. When defeated, there is a chance that he will drop an enchanted stabber when fleeing, which would help us back in the witch's tower. So, but I don't know if I can take him. Let's go ahead and do Mighty Boom Boom. Let's see if we can get a good hit off on him and then maybe run away. I have missed him. He does 7 points of damage. Oh no, I don't think so. Time to go. Run away. I run away, fleeing into the dungeon. Fleeing away from all of that nonsense. And if I want to do this, I'm going to go back to the entrance. I'm going to exit the dungeon. I think that the odds of finding the crown fragment down here without the ghost advice is quite low. So that's not it. Stop. There we go. So I'm actually going to go ahead. Let's go ahead and do I want to try and actually retreat back to town? No, I think we'll risk it. I'll head down across the road. Oops. This way. And I'll take us to the road. A deer is hit by a reckless cart, and we find 2d6 teeth. That is 7 teeth, and you know what I think? I think the deer meat is tasty. So we're going to add deer here. No, actually, I'm going to roast that deer immediately and get an extra hit point. There's no reason to wait. So we'll eat that deer, and then later on in the evening, we'll continue back down to the battlefield. The mound has been looted, but we're going to scour the battlefield for loot and see if we can find that ghost who's lurking around here, or maybe just something else that's useful. I have rolled a 5, which allows me to find a goblin weapon, which is either going to be a stabber on a stick, or a big stabber. This is not terribly useful, but I have rolled a big stabber. So let's go find the stats for that real quick. I think it's on page 5. Big stabber is d6 damage. We will add that to our equipment just in case we need it. And that's it for the battlefield. We need to retreat for the night and camp in the woods up to the north here. Where we find a gnome knight standing over a goblin's corpse. I'm sick of these gnome knights killing goblins, and I also need the teeth, so let's fight this guy. Right, so this is a gnome knight. He does half damage to us. We hit him on a 4 through 6 roll, which I have not done. He deals 2 plus 1, 2 damage to me. I miss him again. He hits me for 1 damage. Not going well. I just get a... Nope, not a decent roll. In fact, my big boom boom has just broken and shattered. So the mighty boom boom is gone once again. And he is going to deal 3 points of damage to me. And I'm going to flee. With no choice but to flee. I flee desperately away from him and up into the goblin village. Things are going very poorly for us at the moment. I've only got 15 teeth left. I need to get some health back, quite a bit of health back. So I'm going to try and buy some potions. Potion 1 heals 1 damage. Potion 2 heals 1 damage. Oof. That's all the potions I can afford at the moment, because I need to keep at least 1 tooth so I can eat. So we are in rough shape. This is the worst we have been in at any time in the game. This is rough. Alright, I'm going to head into the swamp and see if I can find some tasty treats, is all I can think to do at this point. So we'll head up into the swamp. I have a fishing rod, thankfully, because otherwise I would have found a swamp slime. Unfortunately, what I found instead was a skeleton. I fish a skull out, followed by a skeleton. And the skeleton has a strength of 4, does d4 damage, and has 6 health. Realistically, though, I've got pretty good odds on him since I'll hit on a 2 or better. So I got to take the risk because those teeth will actually let us buy the potions that we need to survive. So, skeleton! I immediately rolled a 1. So we could die here with a d4 damage roll. If I roll a 4 on this die, the saga of ghost teeth will have come to an end. I have rolled a 3. Alright, my best odds for survival are actually to take this guy out, so I will attempt to attack him again. This time I roll a 6, which is 8, which is a hit. I'm attacking with my gnomish stabber, which is a d6 plus 1. Throwing dice on the floor again. 5 plus 1 is 6. That is a death for the skeleton. So I smash the skeleton back into the swamp, rip its skull from its spine, and take the moment to pluck out all the individual teeth from the skull, which is a total of 15 teeth, actually, which is great. So I'm at 20 teeth now. We will then flee back to the village, which will let us buy some more potions at 5 a crack, stinky potions, to try and heal some more health. So we'll do 3 potions. 2, 4 is 6, 2 is 8. So we're back at 9 health, having maximized our spend again. Could be worse. I'm still not feeling great, though, so we're going to head back into that swamp. And maybe I can just... berries or something would be nice. Just something that isn't death would be great. So with the fishing pole, I rolled a 4 plus 1 is 5. I have found a gnome villager picking herbs. I can roll a sneakiness of 3 to sneak up on him and land an automatic hit. Let's do it. I rolled a 6, so that's a successful sneakiness check. That's a free hit of 4 hit points. That leaves him with 1 hit point. I hit on anything but a 1, but I rolled a 1, so I miss. He does d4 damage to me as he whirls around, smacking me in the face with his herbs. That is 1 point of damage as I respond by stabbing him with his own. I rolled another 1. I have missed him again. I'm in such bad shape. My legs hurt so much, and everything hurts, and I'm kind of stuck in the mud. It's no good here. All right, this time I hit him. I'm doing 1d6 plus 1. I rolled a 1, so he has 3 hit points left. I smack him again, hitting him again. This time I rolled a 2 finally, which is the minimum to hit. And that'll do. I rolled a 1 on damage, though, so he is still alive with 1 hit point. Now he's dead. So I murder this gnome villager, rapaciously loot 5 teeth from his corpse. Allowing us to return to the village and once again try to heal up with some potions. 1. Not great. And back to the swamp. We'll slowly crawl our way back into health and prosperity, is my thinking here. So 3, I found a snake. Snakes are dangerous if you don't have potions. Fortunately, I am carrying one for just this reason. I will hit him on any roll. So just need to deal automatic damage. There's no reason not to fight the snake at this point. So he is dead. And I get d4 teeth from this snake. I rolled a 4. That's great. So we'll go back to 9 teeth. I'm going to keep moving through the swamp. A little bit risky move, but I think it's worth it. That's a 6 plus 1 from the fishing rod. It would be a crown fragment, but I already have the crown fragment from the swamp, so nothing here. Heading back the other way, I get a 6, which is I pull up a rotten carcass crawling with 1 worm, which I will eat immediately. We'll head this way into the woods, I think. 5 plus 1 is more worms. So lots of worms crawling out. Must be night here in the swamp now. I found 2 more worms, which will put me back at full health. We'll continue exploring the swamp up this way. 1 plus 1 is another skeleton, which could be good if I roll better this time, is what it boils down to. So the skeleton, again, I hit on anything but a 1. I rolled a 6. I rolled 1 for damage, so that's going to be 2 damage. So he's got 4 hit points left. Hit him again. Hit him this time for a bunch of damage, and I once again rip the skull free, pluck 17 teeth. That's a good teeth roll. So 17 teeth is going to put me at 26 teeth. Let's return to the village. I'm going to buy 2 more potions to to put us at 3 potions total for adventuring. Now, the trick here at this point is, what is our strategy for actually getting... What is our strategy for actually getting another crown fragment? Because at this point, I think my strategy is I need to go get a crown fragment, and then... I need to go get a crown fragment by exploring either the wizard's tower or the cave, one or the other. And then, if I can do that, then I can buy the last one. We can just crank up money to buy the last crown fragment in town, reforge the crown, and become the Goblin King. And the question is, can we do that before we run out of time on our stream today? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put this to a vote. Should we go back to the battlefield and try to get the ghost to tell us the information about the cave that'll make it easier to get that cave fragment? Should we just go straight to the cave, or should we go to the wizard's tower and attempt to get to the 5th floor of the wizard's tower? If we could find enchanted rope, we would also be... if we could find enchanted rope, we would also be in better shape. But I don't know where the enchanted rope is I guess the short version. So we don't have that. So battlefield, cave, or wizard's tower are going to be our 3 options. I'm going to let this poll run for 3 minutes because I also need to take a short break here on my end. So we'll start this poll. We will take a quick break, and when I come back, we'll find out where it is that we're going for the for probably one of our last little expeditions as Ghosttooth the Goblin.
5 minutes later.
Before we took our break, we ran a short poll seeing where we would be going to next, and the results were unanimous. We are heading to the wizard's tower. So we are going to leave the village, and we're going to attempt to cross the road. The road is on page 7 here. So we're going to pop up over to the road, and we're going to roll a random encounter on the road. I have rolled a 4. So a deer has been hit by a reckless cart driver, which means that we have found 2d6 teeth, which is our goblin currency. So we add 9 teeth, which is going to be 25 teeth total. And also we have a deer carcass, which is edible food. Every time we eat something edible, we get a hit point back from our health. We're currently full health, so we'll strip that carcass down and store the meat for later use. We can then move on to the wizard's tower. The wizard's tower is located on... Oops, not that page. Wizard's Tower is located on page 12 and 13. So we were here earlier with the Wizard's Tower. The way this works is that we're going to be attempting to climb the tower to get to the 5th level. If we had an enchanted rope, we could just climb straight up there, but we don't know where the enchanted rope is. We haven't found it. We don't know where it is. So we're going to be trying to work our way up through the deadly interior of the Wizard's Tower. The Wizard's Tower is enchanted and constantly being magically renovated, and therefore, even though we were here earlier, we will not be able to use any of that knowledge that we gained previously because the tower will have reorganized itself. But every time we go into the tower, we have to get to the 5th level. Each level, we roll a d46, which is a d4 in the tens place and a d6 in the ones place, and then we check the tables to see what that level of the tower has. So far, it has not been nice, but we'll give it our best shot. At any time, we can return to the 1st level of the tower and flee. I have rolled an 11, which is a low-level adventurer, which is a lackey. So the wizard's lackey is on level 1. And we are going to go ahead and go to the low-level adventurers page. We are going to roll a d4 to determine the class of this lackey. This lackey is a wizard. Upon first hit, they cast a shield spell, reducing damage by d6. The first time they hit you, they cast a magic missile for 3d4 damage. Okay, well, they can't kill me in one shot, at least. There's a 1 in 2 chance they drop a pouch with d4 universal spell components. Well, that sounds cool. The base stats for a low-level adventurer is strength 5, which means that we need to roll a 5 stabbiness. As we know, our stabbiness is +2 currently, +1 to start, +1 from an advancement. So if we roll a 3, 4, 5, or 6, we will hit this wizard. And then we will need to deal 7 points of damage. We're going to be attacking him with our gnomish stabber, which is a d6 +1. let's go ahead and see if we can take him out. So for our first attack, as we rush him, I roll a 5 on the dice, plus 2 is 7. That's going to be a hit. And then d6 plus 1 for damage. Come on! D6 plus 1 for damage is 3. That's 4 points of damage. So he's still up with 3 hit points remaining. The wizard gasps in pain and tries to cast a spell. I wrench back my gnomish stabber and stab him again before he has a chance to utter a spell, hopefully. 3 plus 2 is 5, which is enough to hit him. He gasps and cannot complete his spell, taking 5 more points of damage. I rip out his intestines. And how many teeth do low-level adventurers have? I mean, they must have teeth, right? Oh, and they have 5d6 teeth when you knock them out. That's great. That's a lot. It's 11, 11, 22. Another, wow, that's a huge roll. 28 teeth from this guy. He had a full mouth of teeth. He must have a nice dental plan for the wizard's lackeys. I wonder if he'd hire me. All right, let's go ahead and do that. Then there is a 1 in 2 chance that he'll drop a pouch with universal spell components. He didn't. What a jerk. All right, back to the wizard's tower. So that was level 1, was the wizard's lackey. We're now going to go on to level 2. Climbing the stairs, we come to 31, which isn't great, because we've been here before. 31 is a death glyph. I have to make a spelliness check of 6 or die, unless you have an enchanted stabber. Unfortunately, we did not manage to glean the enchanted stabber. Now, the good news is that we can always, in the wizard's tower, we can always choose, after rolling the floor, to retreat to the bottom. I'm not going to try and do the death glyph and automatically die here with such a, because basically we need to roll a 6 to not die. So I'm leaving the tower again. We're fleeing back into the forest. We'll have to circle back tomorrow and hope that the death glyph on level 2 has finally gone away. Although it seems to be very effective security, so I don't know why he would ever get rid of it, but maybe we'll get lucky. The woods. I find a gnome knight standing over a goblin's corpse. So I still need teeth, and we're pretty good against gnome knights. So, and we're still in good shape, so we're going to go ahead and try and take this guy. I've got a goblin stabber, the gnomish stabber, so attacking, need a 4, 5, or 6 to hit. I've rolled a 6, so I'm going to go ahead and do 1d6 plus 1 damage to this knight. I rolled a 1 on that, so he still has 5 hit points left. I try and take him unawares, but even my gnomish stabber just deflects off of his armor. God, gnomish bastard! Then I roll a 1. Which is unfortunate. It's a miss. He rolls a 3, which is 4, so he's going to do 2 points. So he whirls around and slashes at me. My left arm kind of falls numbly to my side. Yeah, that's... Right. Well, no, sorry, 2 damage from him after having. We are well trained against gnomish knights, so he only does half damage to us, which is why we are good against them. That's a hit on him. So even though my arm falls numb, I do 7 points of damage to him. So my arm falls numb, but I just kind of toss the stabber to my other hand and then stab up through. There's like a little crack between his helmet and his breastplate, and the spear goes straight up through that crack and into his throat and kind of crooks him to one side. I just kind of jam the stabber, into the ground, keeping him kind of like up at an angle, kind of just up, like propped up on that, which gives me a good angle to pull out all of his teeth. All 10 of his teeth. Because they have a less good dental plan over at the gnomish village. That puts us at 63 teeth. 1 in 6 chance he'll drop his stabber. Did not drop a stabber for us. It was 2 damage during the fight. And so we'll return to... Yeah, I think I'm comfortable returning to the wizard's tower at this point. So we will now return to the wizard's tower, which has rearranged itself. Let's go ahead and see what the wizard's tower has waiting for us this time. So on level 1, 22. 22 is a pit trap. We need to pass a 5 sneakiness or fall into a deep pit. Die of starvation unless you have rope or are a toad. So this is perfectly safe for us because we have rope. And so we'll go ahead and try the sneakiness test. I fail, but I climb back out with my rope. And we proceed up to level 2. On level 2, oh my goodness, these dice keep rolling the same results. Not a death glyph this time, but a levitation glyph. We become suspended in midair if we fail a 5 spelliness check. We need to eat something to come back down. Fortunately, we do have some eating options. So we'll go ahead and try this. I rolled a 4 on my spelliness check. My spelliness totals up to +0, so 4 will not do it. But I rip out some raw deer meat and eat that and float back down again, which allows us to proceed up to level 3, where we find 21 is a poisoned arrow trap. Pass a 6 sneak test or die unless you drink the stinky potion. Well, we do have a potion for exactly this means, so we'll give it a shot, see if we can get past this. I actually rolled a 6, which is what we needed. So as we come up the staircase onto the 3rd level for the first time, there's a audible snap as a poisoned arrow shoots out from the far wall. And I duck down and kind of just drop to the stairs. The arrow goes over my head and smashes into the wall behind me. Still slightly light from the effects of the levitation glyph, I go bounding up the stairs to level 4. 32 is another levitation glyph. He must be doing some kind of levitation experimentation here. So we'll again roll a 5 here. I've succeeded this time. With my experience with the previous levitation glyph, I easily avoid this one, heading up to the 5th level. Let me just double check how this works. So when you reach the 5th level, you find the wizard's treasure and the crown fragment within. I'm going to rule that means, I think consistently that means there's actually nothing up on the 5th level, and so we have succeeded. We get to the top level, there is an enchanted chest that has been left open carelessly by the wizard, and we claim the sixth of our crown fragments. This automatically returns us to the village in triumph. Before we do that, we will take our last advancement, which is going to be we get extra teeth whenever we win. This is not going to matter, however, because we have 63 teeth, and we can go shopping in the village and buy a crown fragment for 40, which is in fact what we will do. We will pay 40 village by right of claimancy. We claim the final crown fragment within the goblin village. We unify the 7 pieces of the crown fragment, and we place it upon our own head, declaring ourselves to be boss of all the goblins. And all the goblins come out from their huts, and they raise up their hands and cheer, boss, boss, boss. And we've won the game. Ghost Teeth has become the new Goblin King. That's terribly exciting, isn't it? So yeah, so that was Goblin, the solo RPG about a goblin's life by Wojciech Rosinski, and I had a really great time with that. I hope you guys did too. The other thing I should mention, I haven't really mentioned this, but the Kickstarter is actually not just for Goblin. It's actually for, I believe, this 4 of these solo RPGs that they're doing for a variety of fantasy humanoids. So there'll be Goblin, there'll be some other ones as well. So I'm really looking forward to checking out the other solo tabletop narrative games that they're going to have in that Kickstarter. And maybe we'll check some of those out too when the Kickstarter rolls around. Good gaming. This is Justin Alexander, and I'll see you at the table.